Gods and Company read the Lightning Thief.
It's gonna be amazing. We were talking about when we were testing. I mean, there were some good fics that we that we were trying to decide between earlier when we were testing out the OBS.
I take objection to the description "good fix."
So the other option was to read a string of Artemis Apollo one-shots.
Oh, God.
And I'm not sure if that's Artemis Apollo sibling relationship or Artemis Apollo romantic relationship.
Sibling fluff. You can never tell with these degenerate Australians.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
one second, I'm getting called.
That's like basically doing a coin flip.
If you fall asleep, don't worry. Setras did that the first few times.
It's practically a kaiju moment.
All right.
What's this fanfiction tools thing again?
The fanfiction tools, that's what lets me auto-load the next chapter.
I heard that as duels, and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, fanfiction
It's
duels?
also... it'll highlight words that I don't want. So that
Arabian Nights, 8%.
Yeah. It's actually a really nice.
Hello?
That's not
wait.
I got it though. I'm trying to. Oh yeah, I got it so that I could highlight
you filtering
text.
out / and mpreg, or is that you specifically?
Oh no, it's highlighting those words so that I can see if a fic has them. It highlights them in red, but it does not remove them.
Imagine believing that people actually mark their mpreg fics.
No, I can blacklist them so that they don't show up.
That should
But
be
that's the coward's way out.
Fanfic just has by default. Like, if I'm ever searching on AO3, like, my fucking list of excluded words is absurd because of the shit I've seen going through there.
And it keeps growing because of the more and more custom tags.
Deadass, like, it keeps growing because I keep discovering new horrific things that I have to filter out.
Oh, God.
Oh, and this was recently updated, only 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, she was on a tear of updating fics.
Oh, and she has updated her list of fics has grown.
So she updated and
She has now written
What the fuck?
706 stories.
And I love
How the absolute fuck?
And this is supposed to read those out. It's like fucking Sisyphus in the boulder. It's like,
I don't think I'm ever going to be finished with this. Oh, and she has a new poll. In Life Changes, Percy Jackson, should I have a Femme Apollo, yes or no, in this story, or make another based on this like that?
It took me a second to actually understand, because it says no similar story version 2 Femme Apollo, yes similar story version 2 Femme Apollo, yes Femme Apollo in the story. Alright, well, you know what, I'm voting Femme Apollo. Let's go. Let's make someone else's eyes bleed.
I'm just confused of how you.
What are these options?
It's put Femme Apollo in this story. Don't put Femme Apollo in this story. Put Femme Apollo in a similar story, or don't put Femme Apollo in a similar story.
Absolutely. It's not just that she's written 700. She only has 85 complete fics.
Actually, let's check that.
Control F, control complete, and it's 85.
Yeah. 1 of 85 matches.
That's in some ways impressive.
She has only completed 85 of her 706.
Wait, go down a bit. I saw words in red.
Oh yeah. Artemis gets raped.
I need my brother. What?
Artemis one day in council, while Apollo is punished, cries out in pain and falls to the ground. When others go to help her, she just asks for one person. She begs for her brother. Warning, suggestive rape, miscarriage, and loss of angst. One shot, warnings,
No,
suggestive
you have to
rape,
shout it. You have to shout it.
miscarriage, loss of
Here,
angst.
fucking. I guess we grab Raging Spark Premium.
How is it suitable for teens 13 or older?
Also, she's
What?
watching the same thing twice.
Like, so rape, angst, all this shit. It's for 13
But
years
it's
or
suitable
older.
for teens 13 and older.
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got minor suggestive adult themes dealing with rape.
Don't forget the miscarriage.
Didn't she also make this one thing where an entire island of Amazon women got raped, and they all want Percy Jackson's?
What about the teen-rated? I'm looking through a complete fix. Here's one: Sapphira and Fernand's eggs. Sapphira becomes pregnant with Fernand's eggs. How many
What?
will she rape?
I'm
What?
no.
It
I am
isn't
not.
Fernand's
I am
eggs.
not touching her inheritance cycle stuff until I'm ready to give up.
That myth just
Please
gives up on
don't
life
ever
in
give
general.
up.
Like he's ready to jump off a building, so
yeah,
he just
like
starts reading them.
not just give up on this, give up on life.
You were talking about how bad your writing was when you first started Invictus. Well, you haven't seen shit
what?
yet. Yeah.
What?
Myth, scroll up. Scroll up to the list.
To be honest, I'm pretty impressed that you haven't given up already.
Yes, her.
Just how much of this crap have you subjected
You
yourself
went
to
to
so far?
one fic. One fic. Oh gosh, it's so bad.
Hi, Atto.
I'm just trying to.
Her entire profile is a
We're reading
list.
a fic by a guy who has like
Girl, we have to be
700.
straight. Not only is she a girl, but she's also Australian.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I can't help but feel like
Oh yeah, she has another
Yeah.
account.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Yeah. I mean,
Let's see
come
how
on.
many fics
Yeah,
that one has now.
Oh
Here's the
god.
thing. When I was seeing myth scrolls up, I'm thinking like, this
Only
feels like
8.
something you see like a
This
Star
one's
Wars
only got
show,
8.
but it just has a bootleg Star Wars theme.
Why the fuck is the
Like,
the
it's
screen?
really
And this one hasn't been touched in 6 years. 6.5
Alright.
years.
Thank God.
What are we in here for? What's the context of anything? All I heard was something
You're
about
adding-
eggs.
So we are going to read the Radiant Arabian Nights fic, Gods and Company Read the Lightning Thief.
Oh, I hate these read stories. No, fuck you.
Oh, you can hate this one.
I'm pretty sure
Oh,
getting-
you're gonna hate
I only
this
have
one.
I'm pretty sure getting
Every
waterboarded with
now and then.
kerosene is preferable.
Oh no, it's even
enjoy
better
it.
because it's a
Oh.
Radiant Arabian
It might
Nights
actually
fic.
be better. This might actually be better than a regular fix because at least it'll be interspersed with.
Hey, I don't like radiance. I don't like nighttime, and I sure as hell don't like Arabians.
We got real versus real fast.
But
Well, that makes me sad.
now
I
that
mean, I don't, we
Yeah, I'm
haven't
just
even-
playing. I'm
we
just
haven't
playing.
even started the reading yet, and I'm already laughing a lot. So I'm looking forward to what's gonna happen next.
Well, you know how the hangman just, releases the trapdoor and drops the person he's killing? Let's dive into Gods and Company, read
Yeah.
the Lightning Thief.
Yeah, this one.
we've
the
made
hangman
we've
opens
made
a
fun of her
trapdoor,
profile page
you fall
enough.
through a trap door
It's time to
into a pit of acid.
Yep, drop the guillotine.
jump out of the frying pan and into the fire. Chapter
Yeah,
it's
one.
fire.
It's like a-
Chapter 1. Gathering.
It's not fire, it's Napalm Farm.
Disclaimer.
Vampire from Game of Thrones.
All
Neighbor.
characters belong to their original owners. The writing in all
Thank
writing
fuck
in
that Arabian doesn't
black
own any of them.
belongs to Rick Riordan.
I forgot
Authors
that
I
note.
wanted to
already.
say something really bad.
I am handicapped, so please bear that in mind if my spelling is off. I use spell checker. I also
What do
have
you
a
mean
slight
by-
mental disability, so please excuse any mistakes. I do
You
the
have
best I
700
can with
fics,
writing
I'm
these
pretty
stories
sure
and
it's
trying
more
to
than a
post
slight
chapters.
disability.
Also, I am a very sick person, so there will be periods
Yes,
where
you
I
are.
don't update. But all my stories will be updated eventually.
Yeah, you are fucking sick to come up with some of your ideas.
One of the biggest understatements I've heard
This is literally the type of person that has that ball cap on that says, "Please be patient with me. I have autism." It's
Yes.
literally that. Like, you've
That
seen that
is-
meme before. You've seen that meme before, right?
No. Put it
No,
in the
it's-
fiction room so I can, like, see it.
So she's 29 years old now. I own over 500 books. Those are rookie numbers.
I own more munitions than that. What the fuck? That is rookie
Well,
numbers.
dude, obviously you own more munitions. Like, if you count bullets as munitions, you get like a pack of them. You have more
Yeah.
than her.
Oh yeah.
Literally the
What
I have
about-
autism hat.
Yes.
Oh god.
Literally.
Autism.
I know, like,
this is called
3 different people. Oh, whoa. Go back down. The impulse control issues might explain why she wrote 700 fan fictions.
Impulse control issues. Oh my.
Yeah,
Is this for real or is this a joke? Is this
No,
for real?
this is not a joke. No one
This is a real person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, as in, probably autistic and a myriad of other issues that are coincide with being on the wrong end of the spectrum. I'm trying to be very, very. I'm coming off as a
Politics, you know this is going on
dickhead.
YouTube.
I'm coming off as a dickhead.
No, Smurf, you have to realize this isn't even a unique case. Remember that fucking Louder House exists. I don't know if it's 11 million words now, but
What?
yeah, the Louder House. It's like a really shit Loud House fanfic written in a script format by this autistic dude.
Oh
It's
my
the longest work of English literature.
So far.
But now,
impressive
let's
and
jump
sad.
back into this. Merry
We've all
Christmas.
laughed a lot.
She posted this on Christmas.
Oh god, so she already
I'm
won
pretty
everyone.
pretty sure if I went on
Christmas
the
of
live feed and
2019
watched
is when
it,
she first posted this.
She caused COVID. I knew it.
I'm pretty sure beheading videos on
And
live
have
feed is
a
going to
happy
be less
New Year.
painful than this fucking story.
The first person who opened it was so horrified that
Well,
COVID
yes,
just sprang from them.
Okay, my bad. It's not Louder House. It's the Loud House revamped. And oh god, it's 13 million words that was updated 49 minutes ago.
How the fuck?
13.
That's both
You-
impressive and
That's-
very disturbing.
That is almost as much as how many Polish men there are in the world.
Bro, this
What?
guy's just closing in like the world population in a few years.
Like,
Introduction.
impressive. Like, I'm only
The
giving
gods of the
everything they
past
can.
get a surprise when a group of demigods land in the middle of their throne room. Another flash and a book and a letter explaining what is happening appears. How will the gods handle finding out about what happens in the future? Starts with the lightning thief.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Chapter 1,
This isn't-
Gathering. The gods were having their usual winter solace meeting. Zeus was yelling at Hades for killing his daughter, but Hades told him his daughter wasn't technically dead yet, so he had nothing to complain about. You couldn't
the
even
Winter
keep your
Solstice
oath,
meeting, They're all
Hades
sitting
yells.
alone.
It didn't give you a right to kill my daughter, Zeus growls. You killed my lover Maria and nearly did my children. And anyway, your girl is not dead. Yet, Hades
Did
replies.
she not just say
Yelling
that?
Zeus nearly did my children has two very different connotations.
Oh my! Do you ever
I-
think he actually fucked one of his daughters? Honestly,
Anyone
bullshit.
tried
No.
me.
Do you think he
I like
acted
how she-
differently?
It wouldn't necessarily have to have been Bianca. Have you ever heard the myth of Ganymede?
Oh god, yeah, I have. But all bullshit aside, do you think there ever could have been a point you could make a really cursed one shot about how Zeus, he is so fucking egotistical that a demigod daughter of his that looks basically like a female version of him, that
No,
he's so
Zeus never did all his
egotistical he'd
cursed.
fucking no,
Nah,
you could have a
Zeus
cursed one shot
never-
that he didn't realize it.
Nah, bro, never did it. He would know.
Right.
Zeus,
Trust me,
the Roman god of
You know,
titties, right?
I'm the expert. I'm the professional expert for mythology Fix.
But he did fuck his sisters. He did fuck his sisters.
Absolutely, it did count.
Demeter and Hera.
All
Except for
right.
Moving
Mary
on.
and Hera. Yep.
Is that a threat? What do you mean, yet? Zeus booms while growling. As the brothers continued to argue, with Hera glaring at Zeus for cheating on her again. Other gods were also having arguments. Artemis was yelling at Apollo for calling her his little sis and for flirting with her hunters. I will one day kill you, Apollo, she shouts at him. Come on, little sis, lighten up, Apollo says cheerfully. Don't call me little sis, Artemis growls out.
What the
It's
fuck?
always growl. It's always growl.
It's always
You have to do
growl.
a Batman voice.
Don't
If
call me little sis,
Hell
Artemis
yeah.
growls out.
Fucking
Perfect.
Batman up in this.
Demeter was talking to Persephone about how she shouldn't be spending too much time with Hades, and how she should eat more cereal.
I think
Why
she
is
just ripped that
Persephone...
out. I think she just ripped that sentence out of Percy Jackson because I can distinctly remember.
Yes, distinctly remembered she thought her daughter was a little too thin and she needed to eat more cereal, and it was irritating Persephone.
I mean, that's basically all Demeter does in the Percy Jackson series, is tell people to eat more cereal.
She used to
Maybe
talk about
Why
the
specifically
Olympians.
cereal?
She pushes cereal like crack. Push crack.
I mean, it's crack
No,
in her
no,
name.
she pushes it like a Karen pushes essential oils. Cereal will stop
fuck.
COVID.
Dude, no,
Aphrodite
cereal
was
is
fixing her
essential
makeup
oils
while
here?
she hid as smirk at her husband, Hephaestus, and lover Ares arguing. Oh, how she loved hearing men fight over her. Poseidon was thinking about his little boy and wonder what he looked like now, and hoping he was safe. He also worried about Sally. She was a queen among women to him.
to
He
him.
was a queen among
To
women.
him.
Queen among women.
That's why I
Two.
left her with an abusive asshole.
He was
Well,
also
that's why
having
you-
the same
you'd be
argument
like
he
a
always
queen, I'd
had
be
with
like
Athena
this.
about Athens.
Jeez, Cetrus, you move quick.
Hermes was on his phone sending out messages to his little workers, but he was also worried about his son. Luke was so angry at him. Hermes hated the fact he couldn't be with his children. He did hope that someday they could repair their bonds. Dionysus was snoring on his throne with a wine magazine in his lap. Hestia just watched on. She could only do that watch. But every meeting Normal left her with a headache.
She's doing a watch?
Yes, she's doing that watch.
That watch.
Wow, that dirty little slut.
Yeah.
Like,
She's a little tiny horny
Whoa,
honey.
what's Axel saying?
I was saying, I love how
This-
she is so bland when it comes to introducing all the gods.
Oh my god.
Suddenly,
This makes
a
me
bright
cringe and
flash
makes
of
me want
light
to delete
fills
my
the
own
throne room.
Great.
The gods jump up to see a group of mini teens and a satyr had landed in a pile on the floor. Get off me! What did you do? Death Breath, if you don't get off me this second, I'll kill you! Hold up, Pinecone Face, it is not my fault. What did you do, Seaweed Brain? It wasn't me, I swear, Wise Girl. For the love of God, shut up!
Roman god of
How dare you interrupt this meeting? Zeus
I heard
booms to the
something about the
group.
Roman god of traps. Where the fuck did that thought come from?
Zero
What?
put it in myths fiction thing.
Wait, what?
Zero just puts a fucking sentence. It's actually Zeus, the Roman god of traps.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Oh no, actually no. Fucking Hermes and Aphrodite had the first trap. Like they fucked and Hermaphrodites was born.
Mhm.
Deadass.
I wouldn't
Just
call that a trap.
Futurama joke thing.
He looked like a girl.
Yeah, but he was a girl and a guy. He was both.
No, only after the nymph got to him.
So you're saying that he is a slug?
Yes.
The group all turn to the gods, all looking nervous. Who are you? Athena asks. What do you mean? A dark-haired teen asks. What I just said, Athena replies, annoyed. But you know us, the teen says. Which dark-haired
teen is it?
I mean, what other dark-haired teen do you know that talks back to the gods?
Nico does whenever he's angry, so...
Yeah. From Persona 5.
Anyway.
One question. Do you recognize any of us? A teenage girl with blonde hair and gray eyes asks. No, should we? Athena replies. Shit. The girl curses. What is going on, wise girl? The dark-haired teen asks. Look around. This is not the throne room I designed, the blonde teen states.
It's very out of character for Annabeth to just straight up say shit.
Yeah, she would curse in Greek, not English.
Yeah.
Shit. In Greek. There.
Shist. No, either shist or just say malaka. then you're a real Greek. Just repeatedly say malaka.
Malaka, malaka, malaka.
I just like...
That is the most stereotypically Greek word. Yep.
So they just put shit.
Right.
Like,
the whole group looks around and
curses
quickly, colorfully in Greek, and was that Latin? Oh look, now they're cursing in Greek.
Why are they cursing in Latin?
And are some of the Romans with them?
The Roman demigods.
Yep.
Maybe Zeus is the Roman god of traps.
Chinese.
How did we get here? A bulky-looking guy who looks part Chinese asks. Yep, the Romans are here. That's Frank.
Well, they're fucked. You know.
That's Frank? Frank.
Who the fuck else would it be other than Frank? Part Chinese. Half Chinese, to be exact.
Suddenly, there was another flash of light, and they see a note in a book in the middle off the floor.
Can he be Korean, Japanese, like Vietnamese, like
same thing? What do you mean?
The only Asian country.
Nah, it's the same thing. Am I right, guys? Am I right, fellas?
Oh, yeah.
They all look the same to you and me and everyone, right?
They look different to me, so that means they're bad guys. That's all that matters. See, I escalate it because my accent makes it 10 times worse.
It does, but it also makes it a lot funnier, so keep at it.
Yes.
I had a long day.
Just
I
a
need
hunch,
entertainment.
but that might explain something. Another dark-haired teen with pale skin suggests.
Voldemort?
The blonde-haired girl picks it up and reads it out loud.
Your puzzlement in the Voldemort there? What's amazing?
Hello, demigods of my time and my family of the past. I have decided, because of everything that has happened, that we needed to communicate more. And these books that will appear is the best way. Honestly, it wasn't just my idea. Blame Hecate, too. And Athena might had put the idea in my head after commenting about how these things could have been avoided if we just communicated more with each other and our demigod children. So don't just blame me. These books will appear one after the other. They are about a certain demigod's life. Best way you can ask me to know what has happened is from him, since he had been in the thick of it. Even though he might try and kill me when he realizes it is him. Did you know he has a killer death glare? Oh right, you're the past, you don't. But be warned, you will probably see it. The only people that can equal his death glare are his cousins and siblings, in all but blood.
Why is it underlined?
I don't know.
Also,
honestly, those three act like siblings, so be warned about their little arguments. The last time they argued, they destroyed a clearing in a forest with lightning, flooded a river, and nearly impaled each other with swords or a spear. So just keep that in mind. Have fun! From the most awesome god ever, Apollo. P.S. Demigods, you better introduce yourselves. Good luck with that. Especially my favorite trio of cousins.
Imagine if they just got fucking killed by Zeus the instant they fell into the
right
throne
now.
room. That wouldn't even be out of character. Also, fuck you, Zero. I just saw you calling me a trap. You dick.
I mean, if the
Well,
shoe
is he
fits.
wrong? The question is, is he wrong?
Yeah, I was
he's
waiting for you to
wrong.
notice that.
Well,
Dude,
how can you be so certain?
A trap.
There was silence. Before the dark-haired, blue-green-eyed teen, the black-haired, onyx-eyed teen, and the black-haired, electric blue-eyed teen look at each other. I am going to murder him, the girl growls. You would think being turned mortal would be enough for him, the onyx-eyed teen says. How about we let Meg do that, the blue-green eyes boy suggests. Enough, you three, of planning murder. You can do this when we eventually get home. And Meg will help you, the blonde girl says.
Who the hell is Meg?
I'm confused. Who the hell is Meg?
Is she from the Trials
The
of
Meg
Apollo
Apollo.
thing?
She's from Radiant Apollo.
I know who it is.
Oh.
It's Peter Griffin's daughter.
Yeah.
Fuck, I
No,
only read like one of the books in the Trials of Apollo series. I actually did picture her like that.
But you know, it's not Meg from Family Guy. It's the shark that the level 100 colonel from Battlefield Friends killed.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
that megalodon.
Yeah, I like that more.
Oh my god.
Giant-
You
know how
bet
much-
I
you
will,
know how-
a girl with
how- you know how
glasses
stupid-
growls.
Okay, wait.
Well,
Wait,
you're
is it
from our
actually Meg from
future?
Family
Hera
Guy?
asks, trying to get this started. Yes, all thanks to Apollo, one says. All the gods look at a certain sun god.
Which one was it?
Don't look at me, I haven't even done anything yet, Apollo exclaims, raising his hands in surrender. The key word being yet, Artemis mutters, glaring at her twin. Why don't you all introduce yourselves? Athena asks, taking everyone's attention off the sun god. All right, I am Annabeth Chase, daughter of Athena, counselor of the Athena cabin, official architect of Olympus. Oh God, the titles have begun.
Oh no.
Yes.
No.
Well, thankfully, you know,
Agony!
they're so they'll be short.
Yeah. At least they're not adding a shit ton of names to themselves.
I am Raging Smurf, Hoosier of Hoosiers, Sucker of Titties, Slayer of Deers.
The blonde-haired girl who spoke the most so far says. Athena smiles at her. It was good to know her daughter had grown up. But Athena frowns. What does official architect of Olympus mean? I am Travis.
Shouldn't
Oh
that be
God, I fucking hate
self-explanatory?
this.
Yeah, it would be. No shit.
I am Travis, and I'm Connor Stroll, co-counselors of the Hermes cabin. We are sons of Hermes,
Stroll.
the twins say.
No shit.
I hate it when the Weasley twins do it. Doesn't make it better that it's a different pair of twins.
They aren't twins, actually.
They aren't twins. One is major, bigger than the other. They are just not twins.
It's even worse.
Don't know who is the other one.
Hermes grins at his sons, happy they were here. But where was Luke? Chris Rodriguez, son of Hermes, Chris says. Hermes was shocked. 3 of his sons were here. Clarice LaRue, daughter of Ares, counselor of the Ares cabin, Clarice tells them. Ares smirks at his daughter, proud at the little squirt. I'm Katie Gardner, daughter of Demeter, counselor of the Demeter cabin, Katie says. I am Will Solace, son of Apollo, counselor of the Apollo cabin, Will says, looking nervously at his furious boyfriend who is with his cousins and glaring at Apollo. Will wondered how long his father would live for once they got home. Leo Valdez, son of Hephaestus, counselor of the Hephaestus cabin, and the most awesome demigod at your service, Leo says, grinning widely. The girl next to him hits his head. Sorry about him. I am his girlfriend, Calypso, Calypso says nervously at the gods. I'm pretty sure the gods would have recognized Calypso on sight.
Yeah, as in, how the fuck did you get off of Ojigia? That would be their number one question. How the
get
fuck
back into your fucking cave?
I am his girlfriend Calypso.
We don't like your kind around here, Titan.
How did you...
There you go.
No. How did you... Zeus starts growling.
How did you?
It will probably be explained. Annabeth cuts him off.
Cuts him off?
She just cut off the king of the gods.
She would be vaporized.
Annabeth Chase just cut off the king of the gods.
And didn't die immediately.
Grace is rubbing off from her.
I am Piper McLean, daughter of Aphrodite, counselor of the Aphrodite cabin, Piper says. What were you saying, Peach?
I said, can someone rewrite this realistically? Annabeth just gets fucking killed after this. Like,
yes.
I'm pretty sure
Annabeth starts to cut him off and gets smited by a Master Bolt.
I just thought of something really stupid. You know how gods can turn people into animals? Could you imagine how dumb of a fucking joke it would be if Dionysus turned Percy into a platypus and kept referring to him as Perry? Just think of that. Just think of somebody putting that in a story.
I mean,
what's
On a
better,
scale
the
and
fact
with
that
Smack,
Dionysus
I want
would
to write
do
it.
that, or the fact that it implies he's actually fucking watched the show?
Phineas and Ferb, yes.
I think it would be better if Dionysus didn't know about Phineas and Ferb at all and just did it.
Yeah.
Coincidentally.
Like all the teams, like one or two teams were just laughing.
Yeah, I know.
Aphrodite grins,
Anyway.
seeing her daughter. How is your father? Aphrodite asks her. Been better, Piper replies coldly. Pollux, son of Dionysus, counselor of the Dionysus cabin, Pollux replies. Dionysus eyed his son and wondered where Pollux's twin, Castor, was.
Were they twins?
Reina Ramirez Ariano, daughter of Bellona, former praetor of the 12th Legion, current hunter of Artemis, Reina says. Wait, what? Wait, what?
Hey, now.
That happened after Hero of Olympus.
What?
Yeah.
I think. Because
Let me check.
Yeah, and I think she's in a relationship with
I think
Thalia.
she appears in Heroes of Olympus. I think.
Yeah, I know who Reina is. That's where she...
I mean, Fires of Apollo as a hunter. I don't remember really. Didn't read.
Wait. What? Fake
It
RMV?
doesn't say anything about her being in a relationship with Thalia on the wiki.
Can someone fill me in on what we're
Last I
reading?
checked, it did say
We
it,
are
so maybe
reading
still
Gods
reading
and
the
Company
Lightning
Read
Thief.
the Lightning Thief.
By the same person who wrote King of Magic.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my god.
He just immediately knows what that
Fucking
means.
donning horror as he's like, oh my god.
I give.
Greeks and Romans together, Zeus booms
I need a
angrily.
Wow,
Yeah.
Zeus, this isn't the fucking 1950s, okay?
Husband, calm down. I am sure it is explained, Hera tells him.
Husband.
Zeus grumbles but back down. Layla Summers, daughter of Ceres, Layla states.
Wait, who the fuck is this bitch?
Gwen St. James, Legacy of Trivia, Gwen states.
These are not characters.
They are now.
What the
I'm glad
They're
that I'm not
fine
just
with their
not
names
recognizing
written on them.
people.
They're just potatoes.
Frank Zhang, son of Mars, Legacy of Poseidon, current praetor of the 12th Legion, Frank says, standing straight. Ares flickers from his Greek to Roman form for a minute. Hazel Levesque, daughter of Pluto, current praetor of the 12th Legion, Hazel says from her spot with Frank.
Unless the Gwen is the fucking Roman Gwen.
Huh?
There is Gwen, but there's no last name for her in
Wasn't she the one that almost got killed and it was insinuated that Octavian stabbed her in the back?
I actually have... Yeah.
Back in Son of Neptune, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah, that was
But
like
you
the
died, Hades says, looking at his daughter. Well, sometimes death doesn't stick, Hazel replies nervously. Hades looks puzzled by that statement. Grover Underwood, Lord of the Wild, Grover says nervously. Lord of the Wild, the gods shout. You will find out. Annabeth says tiredly. I'm Meg McCaffrey, daughter of Demeter, and the reason Apollo hasn't died. Yet. Meg states, smirking at the confused Apollo of this time. What do you mean?
Imagining Meg
Apollo
from
asks,
Family Guy.
confused.
Yeah, we'll just fucking imagine her as Meg from Family Guy.
Yes.
Yeah. Here I was thinking I'd be able to finish writing the newest fucking chapter. I'm like, no, I'm gonna lose brain cells listening to this fucking shit.
You're welcome.
I'll think of it this way.
You will probably find out. Why spoil the fun?
Asshole, why'd you post
Meg
that
asked,
shit?
smirking, glad to be getting some payback at Apollo. But the Apollo from her time would still die, maybe, if she could convince the big three kids now to do it. Not to mention the Artemis from her time, but convincing them probably wouldn't be an issue. You know you have a list off people that will want to kill you when we get back, Meg asks the current Apollo, smirking. What do you mean, list? Apollo asks. If those three, she points at the three teens, all with black hair, who are glaring at the sun god, don't kill you, then probably Artemis or me will. Apollo didn't look worried. They wouldn't do anything, would they? Apollo asks. That caused laughter from the demigods that had introduced themselves. You're kidding, right? Connor asks, choking on a laugh. Who are you three? Apollo asks. The three teens looked at each other and suddenly smirked to each other evilly, having a conversation with their eyes, seeming to come to a silent agreement. The shorter boy pulls out a curved sword that showed everyone exactly who his parent was. I am Nico D'Angelo, Ghost King, Lieutenant, Ambassador and heir of my father, Lord Hades, King of the Underworld, God of the dead and riches, full little brother of the former hunter Bianca D'Angelo, half-brother of Praetor Hazel Levesque, cousin of these two hotheads. Nico announces, smirking at the shocked expression.
Curved swords. Just imagine him pulling out the spear.
Like, no.
Darkness and Hammerfell, I've heard they've got curved swords.
Exactly.
What a great story. You should copy that into the fiction room. There you go.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
This make you feel so inadequate, Zero.
What's up?
This genius of writing.
Honestly, it makes me feel like a dust mode in a hurricane.
Hades! How is he alive? Zeus booms angrily. I put him and his sister in the Lotus Casino, so they are safe from you, Hades replies. Son, where is your sister? You will find out, Dad, Nico replies, trying not to let it out she was long gone. Did you say cousins? Zeus asks, eyeing the other two. It couldn't be. Yep, Nico says, popping the P. Pinecone face, Kelphead, you two better introduce yourselves. The gods look confused at the nicknames. But Athena, her suspicions about the boy, though. The girl pulls out a spear that crackles with electricity, showing exactly who her parent was. I am Thalia Grace, daughter of Zeus, lieutenant of the Hunters of Artemis, big sister of the former Jason Grace, former praetor of Rome. Wait, what?
Former? Is it Jesse Grace now? What?
Yeah, transition.
Also, her having an electric spear doesn't really show she's a lightning kid, since Clarice has one. Electric spear too.
Cousin of these two knuckleheads
right?
and idiots, Thalia tells them.
Since this post-trials of Apollo, Jason is dead, so it's the former Jason Grace.
No, it became
Jason
a trap,
dies?
much like Everpeach.
Yeah, he gets fucking shanked, apparently. I stopped reading after, like, the first book.
The Python or whatever changes his fate, so the fate of him seeing him and Piper together, like, surrounded by grandkids, that fate is changed.
Yep, and instead, Piper is now a lesbian.
What the fuck?
Yes! Yeah, I stopped reading it, like, I stopped reading River Arden right before, like, midway into my first year of college, because I felt like his writing quality had gone down after Heroes of Olympus.
I think he started to stretch it a little too much on trying to make more content, and it just started getting run thin. And, that's kind of
really think
unfortunate.
that House of Hades was the part where I was like, I really noticed a decline in quality, to be honest.
Son of Neptune was peak. Son of Neptune was peak quality.
That was a fucking good book.
Oh, yes.
Indeed.
Yep.
Let's, move on.
Please fucking shoot me before then, please.
Nah, man.
How?
No, you have to
Zeus
suffer
asked,
with all of us.
confused at how she was standing
Unless you
here.
let me have all your stuff, then I'll gladly kill you.
Everyone else was confused
You have
too.
the gun you shoot me with.
Wasn't she meant to be a tree?
Well, use it to threaten the rest of your family into giving me all your stuff.
Lieutenant, what about Zoe? Artemis asks, worried. You will find out soon, Thalia replies to both questions. That leaves you, Athena says, looking at the last boy who was close to her daughter. The boy takes out a pin and clicks it, showing a familiar sword. I am Perseus Jackson, son of Poseidon, counselor of the Poseidon cabin, and a whole lot of other titles, but cousin and sibling of Thalia and Nico, Percy replies with a smile.
Cousin sibling? What the fuck is cousin sibling?
It means
Apparently,
they're cousins,
it is a
but they treat
cousin
themselves
sibling.
like each other like siblings.
You can just say cousin.
What about cousin?
You can just say brother from another mother.
Poseidon, you broke your oath! Zeus booms, lightning flashing around Olympus. You had 2 children, brother, in both aspects. So don't you dare lecture me, Poseidon growls, the earth shaking. Is it just I, or has anyone else noticed I'm the only one that hasn't broken that stupid oath? Hades asks, mildly amused. The brothers glare at their older smug brother. Just saying, Hades says, smirking, quite pleased with himself. Damn. Thanks, Dad. Now I owe the few gods drachmas, Hermes groans. So do I. Damn it, Dad. Couldn't you keep it in your pants? Apollo groans too.
No.
You are beating on me?
Exactly the right reason.
Yeah, they're beating on him with both their hands.
Zeus yells at his sons. Of course not, Hermes and Apollo says innocently. I think we better get started, Athena says, changing the topic so her idiotic brothers didn't get hit with a lightning bolt. Let's see this
They
book.
get hit with a lightning bolt. The fucking Annabeth interrupting the King of the Gods wouldn't.
Right. Let's see this book, Annabeth agrees and picks it up. She groans, looking at the title. Oh, Percy was going to love this. If he wasn't going to kill Apollo before, he was now. What is it? Percy asks. Oh, you're not going to be happy, Annabeth tells her boyfriend. Why? Percy asks. Annabeth takes a deep breath and reads the title. Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. Laughter came from the demigods, but nobody laughed louder than Thalia and Nico. We are going to get so much blackmail on him, Thalia exclaims, laughing hard. Oh, I am going to worship Apollo. Whatever he wants when we get back is his, Nico says, laughing low as he and Thalia high five. I agree. This just saved his life, Thalia says, laughing. Percy just knew one thing. Well, 2. First, this was going to be pure torture. And 2, he was going to murder a certain sun god. Author's note, what do you think? Please review, smiley face.
I think it's trash and you should have kicked yourself for every single word you write of this.
I think being dragged out into the woods and shot is less painful.
Starting from the legs upward.
I'd rather be eating my Shia LaBeouf.
What the fuck did you just say?
I heard Shia LaBeouf.
Eating. I heard eating and Shia LaBeouf.
Why are you eating Shia LaBeouf?
The fuck?
Stage play, you know, like
Casual cannibal Shia LaBeouf.
Casual cannibalism? What?
Yeah, casual cannibalism, Shia LaBeouf.
Alright.
Chapter 2. I am going to kill Apollo. The writing in all writing in black belongs to Rick Riordan. Happy New Year! Hope everyone has a better 2020.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, this didn't happen.
Yeah, spoiler alert, it didn't get better.
Yeah, if anything got worse because of this, she jinxed it. It's her fault.
Yep.
She caused the COVID.
Yeah, tell me,
It is her wishing this that caused COVID. Like, it is this wish here. She wished for 2020 to be better, so it got worse just to spite her.
Fucking bitch. Could she make everything worse for us?
Chapter 2, I am going to kill Apollo.
Can I kill her first?
Percy was going to murder Apollo. Just he waits till they get back to their time. Apollo better hid if he wants to live.
Hid?
You better hid.
You better hid.
Who wants to read first, Raina asks. I will,
me.
Annabeth says, opening the book. Chapter 1. I accidentally vaporized my maths teacher. What a title for a first chapter. What did you do, seaweed brain? Thalia asks. What?
She's gonna fuck up sentences from the actual book. I'm calling it now. She's gonna actually
copy and paste. She's gonna copy and paste.
And she's
Look,
still gonna fuck it up.
I didn't want to be a half-blood. This says my thoughts? Percy exclaims. Thalia and Nico burst into laughter. Oh, this will be good, Nico says, laughing. We get to see what goes through his brain, Thalia says, smirking. All the other demigods were smirking too. I'm going to kill Apollo, Percy mutters. If you're reading this because you think you might be one, my advice is, close this book right now. Believe whatever lie your mom or dad told you about your birth, and try to lead a normal life. Yeah, like we ever could, Clarice mutters. The gods look sadly at their children. They wondered what happened to them.
Your lot in life, you bitches.
They all looked older than their years in their eyes. Being a half-blood is dangerous. It's scary. Most of the time, it gets you killed in painful, nasty ways. I know what that is like, Hazel says. Hades looks sadly at his daughter.
Duh.
Yeah, dying is not fun, Leo agrees. Hephaestus looks curiously at his son, wondering what had happened. If you're a normal kid reading this because you think it's fiction, great. Read on. I envy you for being able to believe that none of this ever happened. But if you recognize yourself in these pages, if you feel something stirring inside, stop reading immediately. You might be one of us. And once you know that, it's only a matter of time before they sense it too, and they'll come for you. Don't say I didn't warn you. That would be great, a warning, Chris mutters. My name is Percy Jackson. I'm 12 years old. So this is only a couple of years away, Poseidon thinks. Until a few months ago, I was a boarding student at Yancey Academy, a private school for troubled kids in upstate New York. Am I a troubled kid? You've always been troubled, Kelphead, Thalia says, snickering. You were in trouble the day I met you, Grover replies. Thanks, man, Percy replies, glaring at Grover. Yeah, you could say that. I could start at any point in my short, miserable life to prove it. But things really started going bad last May, when our 6th grade class took a field trip to Manhattan. 28 mental case kids and 2 teachers on a yellow school bus heading to the Metropolitan Museum of Art to look at ancient Greek and Roman stuff. That would be interesting, Annabeth says. I know, it sounds like torture. Most Yancey field trips were. But Mr. Brunner, our Latin teacher, was leading this trip, so I had hopes. Chiron, the demigods explain. Mr. Brunner was this middle-aged guy in a motorized wheelchair. He had thinning hair and scruffy beard and a frayed tweed jacket, which always smelled like coffee. You wouldn't think he'd be cool, but he told stories and jokes and let us play games in class. That would be the best class ever, Connor exclaims. It would be our dream class, Travis adds. He also had this awesome collection of Roman armor and weapons, so he was the only teacher whose class didn't put me to sleep. We need to talk to Chiron about that. He shouldn't have Roman armor with him, Athena says. It will be something we bring up with him, Zeus agrees. I hoped the trip would be okay. At least, I hoped that for once I wouldn't get in trouble. Boy, was I wrong. See, bad things happen to me on field trips. Like at my 5th grade school, when we went to the Saratoga battlefield.
Skip these parts that are just verbatim from the book, unless there's some mistake, because I'm not sure how the copyright thinks about us reading the entirety of the lightning.
True.
Oh yeah, that is a fair point, Peach. This is literally just a copy and paste of the lightning thief.
Yeah, it's been copy-paste so far.
Does it matter if we don't record it, or does Discord care?
I was planning to post this to YouTube, so I'm already recording it.
Give two shits.
What about the actual text on screen?
I mean,
fuck it.
Copyright regulations are pretty shit.
Yeah, apparently they like removing Joe Can't Swim for some reason. You know, the psychology channel.
Like, it can technically the creator can technically or the publishing company can technically copyright strike you even if you show no images at all.
You have a 50-50 chance of getting nuked from orbit or completely ignored.
Basically, you're a cockroach. Either someone ignores you or they drop an anvil on you.
Yep.
Probably should be doubly careful since Disney owns the rights now.
YouTube?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh no, just Percy Jackson. Yeah, fuck.
Pretty soon Disney will own literally everything.
Including you.
They will be. They will be the Umbrella Corporation.
Yeah, they were
I
pretty much
swear to
all
God,
around it.
I will leave this planet if Disney starts investing in pharmaceutical companies. I'm getting
Too
the fuck
bad.
out.
They own space. They own NASA. NASA.
Yes.
They own Uranus. Both the planet and your own anus.
Yeah, not Uranus. No.
But technically, there's only one Bishop of the Moon right now. So I don't know who owns that yet.
Mickey.
Hermes and Apollo burst out laughing. How do you accidentally hit a school bus? Thalia asks, laughing. A revolutionary cannon, Nico chuckles. I am going to kill Apollo, Percy thinks.
It would have been funny if he said that at, like, the end of the chapter. Now it's just getting annoying.
Yeah, it's getting repetitive. Which is par for the course for Radiant Arabian Nights.
Someone hand me a bottle.
Apollo, Hermes, Thalia, and Nico collapse in laughter. Uncle P, your kid is pure gold, Apollo says, laughing. This has to be our favorite kid of yours yet, Hermes exclaims, laughing. We should try that, Connor and Travis exclaim. You're worse than Apollo, Meg exclaims. So much exclaiming. Percy groans. He wasn't going to live this down. Apollo was so dead. Oh, no more? Thalia pouts, wanting more blackmail. I want to hear more about those trips. Couldn't Apollo add that? Nico pouts.
Posted is so accurate right now.
What?
It's in Fiction Room. SGO reading Ran willingly, sane people enjoying their day.
I will kill him, Percy thinks. What?
Oh no,
How
who
dare
would
she?
guess that he wanted to kill Apollo?
If he had the
Annabeth and
means,
Thalia
he'd be far too
growl.
dead by now.
Guys, I'm fine, Grover tells the girls. His heart warmed at their defense of him. You try hiding your realm legs, Grover complains. That is what I hate about going undercover at schools. Really? You run for Enchilada Day? Katie asks. Hey, they are enchiladas, Grover exclaims, defending himself. Grover's got a point. Enchiladas are pretty good.
Yeah.
I haven't had enchilada for ages, but yeah, they're fucking amazing.
Death
Gotta
by
have beans.
in-school
You haven't had beans in a
suspension?
while.
What does that mean? Poseidon asks. Don't worry about it, Dad, Percy tells him.
Let me guess, he's about to think I'm gonna kill Apollo again.
No, but in the actual book, he thinks he's gonna kill Nancy.
He's a really murderous protagonist, actually.
Yes, Percy is quite murderous.
I wish they'd leaned into that more, because it really is to a lot of Greek demigods.
Do you like peanut butter? Pollux asks curiously. Grover doesn't answer, but blushes. How did you do that, Grover? Annabeth asks. What do you mean? Apollo asks curiously. When Percy is furious, it is hard to budge him, Frank replies. Actually, Thalia and Nico are the same way, Clarice tells them. Don't get on the wrong side of those three, Hazel tells the gods, chuckling. They have explosive tempers, Annabeth adds.
Aren't they all just giving him a lot of reasons to kill him right there, then and there, if that's the case?
Like, be careful of these three powerful demigods. You won't like it if you make them mad.
You also have all of your super nuke weapons right there.
See, they're very dangerous chihuahuas. Disregard that I've got a loaded fucking gun and a flamethrower. They're really dangerous chihuahuas. That's the power.
So much more respect for the gods in the books. Like, Gamerfic on AO3 is the most painful fanfic, and says he feels physical pain from reading it, and yet he's not in here with us. He doesn't know what real pain is. He has his bed. Radiant Arabian Nights or Sidra Wolf.
Who isn't in here?
This guy at the Anime Fanfics channel.
Try and drag him in here.
I'm trying.
I would feel less bad about reading chapter 1 of my fucking story. That's how bad this
chapter 1 wasn't even fucking bad. I wouldn't have kept reading your fic if it was trash.
Don't listen to Peach. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I can delete the first 2 chapters of that story and just basically start from scratch with no prep at all, and it would be fucking better than what it is now. It's like you took a shit and then you decided, you know what, I'm gonna fish it out of the toilet and then I'm gonna polish it. That is what those 2 fucking chapters are.
What happened? Poseidon asks, worried. Percy did a discreet glance at Hades. This will go down so well, Percy thinks. You better just let Annabeth read it, Percy replies. Wall of copywritten text.
We all know what it's going to say.
Yeah. She has to be a monster, Artemis states. That Nancy Boba Fett could be one too, Apollo adds.
Boba Fett?
It best likely she is, Layla states.
Boba Fett.
Why do I get a bad feeling about this, Hades thinks. Why does this sound familiar, Hades and Nico think.
It's a bad idea.
Oh,
It was a fury, wasn't it?
Grover, why did you say that? Annabeth groans. I know, I wasn't thinking. Grover replies. What, you can remember something? Clarice asks, smirking. I do know things, Clarice, Percy replies. Sure, Kelphead, Nico replies. Oh, that wasn't a pleasant experience, Demeter shudders. Neither was coming out, Hera shudders. We don't need to hear that, Gwen says, shuddering.
Shudder, 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 shudder.
There's just a lot of shutter bugs. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna throw in a couple of words.
King, God! Zeus shouts angrily, lightning flashing. I am sure he will amend that, Hestia says calmly. Apollo, if I survive, you are dead.
Oh, no.
Percy thinks, hoping he wouldn't get vaporized. Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon shudder remembering that. Try living it, Hades mutters. You summarized one of the biggest fights into just a few words, Seaweed Brain, Annabeth says, sighing and shaking her head. In my defense, I was 12 and didn't know it was real yet, Percy defends himself. More like horses, Meg mutters. After this chapter, I'm done with this, because skipping all the text and reading scattered like this is getting old.
And annoying.
Do you want to read more of the one-shots?
Yeah, I just looked away for a second and heard something about horses completely out of context, so I get it.
Yeah. Who would want to
That
eat
sounds
after
about
that?
right.
Leo asks, gagging. Calypso whacks his head. Behave, she tells him. That's because he is over 1,000 years old and seen everything. Kelp for brains. Like I said, I didn't know, Percy says with a sigh.
Jesus.
C-. Athena and Annabeth yell, scandalizes.
That's
Percy
this other
groans.
thing that
He was
Cetrus just
so
posted.
killing Apollo. He probably had been at the girl's funeral, Annabeth mutters. What are you so mad about, Pops? Hermes asks. How would I know? This hasn't happened yet, Zeus replies. All the gods look at Zeus and Poseidon. What on earth are you two fighting about now? Hera asks with a tired smile. How would we know? Poseidon asks.
Wall of text.
Grover.
Fuck it, just read
Annabeth.
the original text.
Huh?
Take the L if Disney decides to smite you, but fuck it, read the original text so we have context.
Yeah. Yeah, this is...
The original text is the only thing readable in this.
Pretty much.
Come on, Beard Man.
Grover, Annabeth, and Thalia groan. Grover blushes. I didn't have much of an appetite, so I let him take it. I watched the stream of cabs going down Fifth Avenue and thought about my mom's apartment, only a little ways uptown from where we sat. I hadn't seen her since Christmas. I wanted so bad to jump in a taxi and head home. She'd hug me and be glad to see me, but she'd be disappointed too. She'd send me right back to Yancey, remind me that I had to try harder, even if this was my 6th school in 6 years, and I was probably going to be kicked out again. I wouldn't be able to stand that sad look she'd give me. None of us can stand that look, Thalia comments. She had that look down pat, Nico agrees. You just never want to disappoint her, Annabeth agrees. I have noticed that too, Meg comments. Poseidon looked at the demigod and wondered how they all knew Sally. Mr. Brunner parked his wheelchair at the base of the handicapped ramp. He ate celery while reading a paperback novel. A red umbrella stuck up from the back of his chair, making it look like a motorized cafe table. I was about to unwrap my sandwich when Nancy Beaufort appeared in front of me with her ugly friends. I guess she'd gotten tired of stealing from the tourists, and dumped her half-eaten lunch in Grover's lap. Oops, she grinned at me with her crooked teeth. Her freckles were orange, as if someone had spray-painted her face with liquid Cheetos. I really hate that girl, Thalia growls. I tried to stay cool. The school counselor had told me 1,000,000 times, count to 10, get control of your temper. Does that even work? Apollo asks. No, the big three cousins all say. But I was so mad my mind went blank. A wave roared in my ears. I don't remember touching her, but the next thing I knew, Nancy was sitting on her butt in the fountain screaming, Percy pushed me! He is defiantly your son, Zeus says to Poseidon.
Oh my god, that is such a common...
Defiantly.
Yeah, he is defiantly the son of Poseidon.
I am defiantly sure.
Does anyone know if you can do a copyright strike on something that already has a copyright strike? Like, could you open a second channel and copyright strike your own work so that no one else can do it?
Yeah, that's what Yimfa does. Dark Souls YouTuber, he copyright strikes his own content so that he can get all the money from it.
Wait.
No one can steal your money, steal it first.
He actually has a video of it. Like,
That's impressive. It's a good strategy.
Who was
Mrs.
it that
Dodds
said they wanted to
materialized next to us. Some of the kids were whispering, "Did you see? The water. Like it grabbed her." I didn't know what they were talking about. All I knew was that I was in trouble again. As soon as Mrs. Dodds was sure poor little Nancy was okay, promising to get her a new shirt at the museum gift shop, etc., etc., Mrs. Dodds turned on me. There was a triumphant fire in her eyes, as if I'd done something she'd been waiting for all semester. "Now, honey." "I know," I grumbled. "A month erasing textbooks." "No, don't say that," Apollo exclaims. "It is like the first rule in the book," Hermes exclaims. "Book?" Athena asks at her brothers. "Yeah, the book of getting in trouble," Apollo says, grinning. Artemis smacks his head. "What was that for?" Apollo asks his sister. "Figure it out," Artemis replies, glaring at her twin. That wasn't the right thing to say. "Come with me," Mrs. Dodds said. "Wait," Grover yelped. "It was me. I pushed her." I stared at him stunned. I couldn't believe he was trying to cover for me. Mrs. Dodds scared Grover to death. She glared at him so hard his whiskery chin trembled. "I don't think so, Mr. Underwood," she said. "But you will stay here." Grover looked at me desperately. "It's okay, man," I told him. "Thanks for trying." "Honey," Mrs. Dodds barked at me. "Now." "Oh, shit. I think I know her," Hades thinks. Nancy Bowfit smirked. I gave her my deluxe "I'll kill you later" stare. I then turned to face Mrs. Dodds, but she wasn't there. She was standing at the museum entrance, way at the top of the steps, gesturing impatiently at me to come on. How'd she get there so fast? I have moments like that a lot, when my brain falls asleep or something, and the next thing I know, I've missed something as if a puzzle piece fell out of the universe and left me staring at the blank place behind it. The school counselor told me this was a part of ADHD, my brain misinterpreting things. I wasn't so sure. I went after Mrs. Dodds. Halfway up the steps, I glanced back at Grover. He was looking pale, cutting his eyes between me and Mr. Brunner, like he wanted Mr. Brunner to notice what was going on. But Mr. Brunner was absorbed in his novel. I looked back up. Mrs. Dodds had disappeared again. She was now inside the building, at the end of the entrance hall. Okay, I thought. She's going to make me buy a new shirt for Nancy at the gift shop. But apparently that wasn't the plan. I followed for deeper into the museum. When I finally caught up to her, we were back in the Greek and Roman section. Except for us, the gallery was empty. Mrs. Dodds stood with her arms crossed in front of a big marble frieze of the Greek gods. She was making this weird noise in her throat, like growling. Hades and Nico looked at each other, knowing her she was now. Poseidon is going to kill me, Hades thinks. He discreetly puts his armor on. Nico looks at him with concern, but Hades just shakes his head. Even without the noise, I would have been nervous. It's weird being alone with a teacher, especially Mrs. Dodds. Something about the way she looked at the frieze, as if she wanted to pulverize it. "You've been giving us problems, honey," she said. I did the safe thing and said, "Yes, ma'am." She tugged on the cuffs of her leather
Always say yes
jacket.
to the dominatrix.
"Did you really think you would get away with it?" The
not-
look in
you're
her
not
eyes
able
was
to avoid.
beyond mad. It was evil. She,
Wait,
a
can
teacher.
someone like rewrite this fucking scene so it's just like a really masochistic Percy? He's like, "Oh yeah, chastise me more, mistress."
I mean, since he's 12, that's kind of a...
Yeah.
He's God.
It's not like she's going to
I
hurt
don't really
me.
care about that shit.
I said, I'll try harder, ma'am. Thunder shook the building. "We are not fools, Percy Jackson," Mrs. Dodds said. "It was only a matter of time before we found you out. Confess, and you will suffer less pain." I didn't know what she was talking about. All I could think of was that the teachers must have found the illegal stash of candy I'd been selling out of my dorm room. Hermes, Apollo, Connor, and Travis snicker at that. Or maybe they'd realized I got my essay on Tom Sawyer from the internet without ever reading the book, and now they were going to take away my grade. Or worse, they were going to make me read the book. Really, Percy?
Tom Sawyer is fucking
Annabeth
good.
asks him. As I said, wise girl, I was 12, Percy replies. I hated school. Didn't help with dyslexia and ADHD.
Oh yeah, I remember that from the movie.
You only watched the movies?
Oh no,
I'm so disappointed in you, Absol.
That's like saying you know what corn on the cob tastes like because you fished corn out of a pile of shit.
Oh,
That's such a weird fucking analogy, Smurf. What the hell?
That might be a
I don't
bit
care
extreme,
if it's a
but
weird
yeah.
analogy. It's true. It is a true analogy.
Look, that is
It is
oddly
a very
specific.
true analogy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very oddly specific
Do you have
analogy.
experience fishing corn out of shit?
No, because I just read the book Enemy at the Gates, and the prisoners of war had to do that. That's why. That's why I had it on deck like that.
All the demigods look at him with understanding.
We kind of cut off Absol there.
Yeah, sorry.
The gods wondered if it was really so bad to be a demigod in school. What?
Absol.
Okay, I just want to say, I've read the books. It's just I've recently watched a movie with one of the younger kids my aunt adopted.
One? Is she like fucking General Grievous but for orphans or some shit?
No, that's Angelina Jolie. That's Angelina Jolie.
And she adopted like a whole family.
Including the parents? I know you're 30 years old, but you're coming to stay with me now.
Oh, like I think she adopted like one boy that's like I want to say at least 16 because he's working at a fast food place now.
Well, she demanded. Ma'am, I don't. Your time is up, she hissed. Then the weirdest thing happened. Her eyes began to glow like barbecue coals. Her fingers stretched, turning into talons. Her jacket melted into large leathery wings. She wasn't human. She was a shriveled hag with bat wings and claws, and a mouthful of yellow fangs, and she was about to slice me to ribbons. Poseidon gripped his throne in fear for his son.
Throne?
Throne.
Oh.
Then things got even stranger. Mr. Brunner, who'd been out in front of the museum a minute before, wheeled his chair into the doorway of the gallery, holding a pin in his hand. What ho, Percy? He shouted and tossed the pin through the air. Mrs. Dodds lunged at me. With a yelp, I dodged and felt talons slash the air next to my ear. I snatched the ballpoint pen out of the air, but when it hit my hand, it wasn't a pin anymore. It was a sword. Mr. Brunner's bronze sword, which he always used on tournament day. Mrs. Dodds spun toward me with a murderous look in her eyes. My knees were jelly. My hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped the sword. She snarled, "Die, honey!" And she flew straight at me. Absolute terror ran through my body. I did the only thing that came naturally. I swung the sword. Naturally, the demigods exclaimed, looking at Percy. It just felt right, Percy replies, shrugging. Only you, Perce, Will says. I am glad to know you with those instincts, Piper tells him. The metal blade hit her shoulder and passed clean through her body as if she were made of water. Hiss. Mrs. Dodds was a sandcastle and a power fan.
Grunt
she exploded into
someone
yellow
said,
powder.
After Mitch said hiss, someone just fucking grunted.
Yeah, hissing and grunting.
Vaporized on the spot, leaving nothing but the smell of sulfur and a dying screech and a chill of evil in the air, as if those two glowering red eyes were still watching me. I was alone. There was a ballpoint pen in my hand. Mr. Brunner wasn't there. Nobody was there but me. My hands were still trembling. My lunch must have been contaminated with magic mushrooms or something. Had I
Quick,
imagined the whole thing?
drugs.
I
Just
went back
magic
outside.
mushrooms.
It had started to rain. Grover was sitting by the fountain, a museum map tinted over his head. Nancy Bobofit was still standing there, soaked from her swim in the fountain, grumbling to her ugly friends. When she saw me, she said, "I hope Mrs. Kerr whipped your butt." I said, "Who?" "Our teacher, duh." I blinked. We had no teacher named Mrs. Kerr. I asked Nancy what she was talking about. She just rolled her eyes and turned away. I asked Grover where Mrs. Dodds was. He said, "Who?" But he paused first, and he wouldn't look at me, so I thought he was messing with me. "Grover, you suck at lying," Nico tells him. "Travis, Connor, Chris, you three give him lessons," Thalia orders them. "Yes, ma'am," they salute sarcastically. "Not funny, man," I told him. "This is serious." Thunder boomed overhead. I saw Mr. Brunner sitting under his red umbrella reading his book, as if he'd never moved. I went over to him. He looked up, a little distracted. "Ah, that would be my pen. Please bring your own writing utensil in the future, Mr. Jackson." I handed it over. I hadn't even realized I was still holding it. "Sir," I said, "where's Mrs. Dodds?" He stared at me blankly. "Who?" "The other chaperone. Mrs. Dodds, the maths teacher." He frowned and sat forward, looking mildly concerned. "Percy, there is no Mrs. Dodds on this trip. As far as I know, there has never been a Mrs. Dodds at Yancey Academy. Are you feeling all right?" That moment when you realize Percy got gaslit at 12 years old.
Get fucked. Yeah.
And casual mind control of everybody else.
Yeah.
Killed someone too.
Where the hell did Mrs. Kerr come from? Like
random mortal kidnapped off the street.
It's like some families missing their daughter and shit now.
Body snatchers.
No, they're not missing their daughter because their memories were changed so that they never thought they had a daughter.
Yeah. It just says you're now a teacher.
It's like, you're now a teacher. Deal with it. You've been working at Yancey Academy all year.
Give you a university degree. That's how you get free college. The Mist.
College doesn't exist. Reality, just the Mist.
That is how you lie, Grover, Clarice says. That is the end of the chapter, Annabeth announces. Hades, Poseidon asks, looking at his older brother. Yes, Hades replies nervously. I will kill you for attacking my son. Poseidon yelled, leaping toward Hades with his trident. Hades was trying to protest, but he was also busy trying to stop himself getting hurt from his brother's trident. Zeus was yelling at the two of them to calm down. Hermes and Apollo were taking bets on who would win, with Ares joining in, as Artemis whacked her brother's head again. Hera and Hestia were trying to calm the situation, as the demigods watched on. Percy groans, I am going to kill Apollo. Author's note, what do you think? Please review.
Horrible! This is my thought.
One shot, since it's like really not conducive to reading fics if we can't read the fic. Alright.
I don't know what prompted that last murderous Apollo episode. I have no idea.
Yeah, I love the fact that how people are reacting to Spirit Hunter images I've been showing them, and I haven't even shown them the worst ones.
Don't fucking show us the worst ones. Why?
Get that out of my channel.
Your neurosis that makes you finish things that you start reading, are you going to have to finish the Percy Jackson book now?
Wait, what? That is not a dick. That is a cut of beef that was improperly packaged. That is not a cock.
It could just be beef dick. I'm pretty sure people eat that.
I mean,
I've seen an erect horse before. Even horse dicks aren't that fucking big.
Why were you looking at a erect horse?
I want to know what
because it was a field trip when I was in kindergarten, and I, being a fucking naive child, thought that horse had 5 legs. And then my fucking dad was crying from laughing so fucking hard when I said, Daddy, that has 5 legs.
All right.
Daddy has 5 legs.
Sort by chapters.
I thought he was gonna pass
Sucking
out.
sounds when you're talking about an erect horse.
No, the nerdy sounds that you make.
All right.
The topic of erect horses.
Yeah, on the topic, let's see if she has any centaur fix, like breaking the faith.
Oh God! Why the
We'll only be looking at the one shots that are complete. So
Misunderstanding is the top one.
I sorted by number of chapters, and all of the one chapter fix are down at the bottom. So.
Okay, but not all of those are finished. The most recent fix she's made are all complete.
I know.
Top 3 fix. Yeah. And she has a 54.
I know. I'm just doing it differently.
Okay.
So we've got You Need Rest. Artemis hasn't slept since Apollo went on his quest 2 years ago. Now barely functioning, the gods know she needs help, and probably only one person can help her. But they didn't get along. Did they? Sibling fluff one shot. Yale and Christmas Surprise. This is a one-shot. Someone very special to Morgan comes to give her a Yale and Christmas surprise from something called Sweep.
What the fuck is Sweep?
I have no idea.
Well, it's when you take a broom, put it on the floor, and then you move it back and forth.
A Ranger's Apprentice fic. What if? What if Evelyn comes across Halt and Horace while hunting for herself and Will? What if? One shot. Castle. Wedding plans. One shot. Kate and Castle make plans and decisions for their wedding.
A book. Okay, so Sweep, released as Wicca in the UK and Ireland, is a series of young adult fantasy novels following a girl named Morgan Rollins who discovers that she is the descendant of a long line of witches and possesses powerful magic of her own. In other words, it's a ripoff of Harry Potter with a female protagonist.
An Avengers one-shot that is 7,000 words long.
Ooh.
Unforeseen consequence.
I don't want to read this. No, I think it's Empreg.
The Rogue go to talk to Tony after they see him do an interview about them.
No.
They find him at a party at Stark Tower.
No.
How will this reunion go? And Tony is terrified of them. And he had been injured by them. But what happens when the new Avengers and Tony's boyfriend gets involved?
Hell yeah, let's go, let's do this.
Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier, Iron Man, Tony Stark, Loki, Hulk, Bruce Banner.
Fuck yeah, this is what
four-way relationship. Yeah, that's it. We found a winner.
I will be leaving.
No, that's tonight's biggest loser.
We just do a practical Joker same, and this is the punishment.
Disclaimer. All characters belong to their original owners. Author's note, I am handicapped, so please bear that in mind if my spelling is off. I use spell checker. I also have a slight mental disability, so please excuse any mistakes. I do the best I can with writing these stories and trying to post chapters. Based on World of Consequences by Flower Owl, please go and read her story.
I'll do the fucking consequences.
Here's a translation of how cursed this story is. This is the same cursed level, but in a picture format.
Oh no.
World of Consequences. Tired of hiding away in Wakanda, Steve Rogers and the rest of his team decide that they have waited long enough for Tony to have calmed down. So they do what they have to do to get the chance to talk to him. Turns out that things might just have changed while they were gone.
Yeah, like everyone suddenly gay for some reason. I guess Thanos wished a different thing when he snapped his finger.
Yeah.
You know what I'm gonna do to prevent life?
Snap my finger and make
You're
you
gay now.
Hey, that's how he's reducing the population. He's just making everyone gay.
Yeah, he's eliminating the birth rate.
Yeah, he's thinking
really
long.
that episode of South Park then.
The Rogues go to talk to Tony after they see him do an interview about them. They find him at a party at Stark Tower. How will this reunion go when Tony is terrified of them, and he had been injured by them? But what happens when the new Avengers and Tony's boyfriend gets involved?
I hate this so much.
Tony, Bucky, Stephen, Bruce, Loki. Oh, Doctor Strange is involved in this too.
What the fuck?
As if it wasn't strange enough already.
Anyway, and then there's this.
Unforeseen consequences, one shot.
Let's go.
Tony was trying to get his life back on track.
There's this guy's ass apart. That's what I'm expecting from this fic.
Oh god.
After the horrible Civil War, which left him badly damaged, he had lost his right leg. His left arm and wrist was severely broken and needed plates and screws in it.
So damn fast.
And it still wasn't working properly, and he was in physical therapy for it. And his hearing was diminished from the head injury, and he had had a mild heart attack. He was only lucky to survive because of the emergency beacon in his armor. Vision had rescued him.
And here we go with the lists again.
He had been in the hospital for a month where Rhodey was, and then he went back to New York and purged the tower of the rogue Avengers. And the tower was named Stark Tower again. He made himself a prosthetic leg which looked just like his real leg. He also made leg braces for Rhodey, which had him walking again in no time. And he started to be once again Tony's rock.
His rock. Get it?
Yeah. Tony had been busy fixing the Accords the way they should be. He still believed the Avengers needed oversight. He knew Rogers would never sign. But this is what the public wanted, and they needed to listen to the public. Tony had sent friends to save Laura Barton and the children, as well as Maggie Lang and her daughter Cassie. They were now safe at the compound, and Tony had given them jobs. Maggie was now a SI and Avengers lawyer. And Laura was a PR for the Avengers. Laura was divorcing Barton as he left them alone and undefended. Tony had defended them, and Laura was forever telling Tony thank you, and that she owed him.
What the fuck is this?
It's shit.
What Tony didn't expect was Barnes in his living room saying he was handing himself in, and saying that Rogers was wrong about everything. At this time, Tony had time to calm down, so he listened to Barnes and made a deal to give him back his life. Tony asked the United Nations for a pardon for Barnes on the grounds that he would receive treatment by himself with the BARF technology and that he would be placed in Avengers custody.
Mysterio will be annoyed.
And to give him status as a POW. Ross threw a fit, but Tony won that case, and so he began helping Barnes, and soon they had become best friends. And Barnes soon became James, which he wanted to be called. What? James also signed the Accords, stating they were the right thing.
I want to be James.
What? What the fuck?
Why?
I'm just looking at me.
I'm just imagining how this changes all the backstories. Like Cap, you know, he's asking for that one last date when he's up in the plane. He's like, "Yo, I want that one last date so I can pick up some fine strapping young men."
Bucky, what have you been doing? The name is James now.
Then, 4 months after the Civil War, Asgardians arrived by a spaceship, and on it was Thor, Loki, Lady Sif, and most surprisingly, Bruce. Thor and Bruce were shocked by what had happened and horrified. They read the revised Accords and signed them, and Loki was given a trial, and like James, was found to be mind-controlled, so he was put under surveillance by the Avengers.
Why would Thor do that? Sign the Accords? He's like one of the ones who I would imagine would be the one of the most opposed to them.
Because he
wants
needs to be there with Tony, and Tony can't be wrong.
Okay. Apparently.
Tony started going out with James, Loki, Bruce, and Steven. They all took turns being his bodyguards, as Tony was really having a bad time with PTSD and night terrors.
Okay, I'm signing. I'm just done.
So, is that a bad thing? You start dating our whole at the same time.
Stay there. If I don't leave, you don't leave. If I can't leave, you can't leave.
We all suffer together.
Well, I guess you're probably not gonna like this then.
Alright, fucking mute him. It's like fucking universe of shit.
He knew where the rogues were. Did they really think they could hide from him? But he didn't turn them in. Soon they would slip up. He knew that. So he was going to wait for them to slip up so he didn't have to turn them in. At the press conference he did today, he spoke the truth and knew that he and the new Avengers would never accept the rogues back, and that they were terrorists and deserved time in jail. Maximoff was going to get life in prison when she was caught, and he told the press that and her role in the Ultron fiasco.
Wow, what the fuck? And fucking Bucky is going along with this?
Yeah.
And fucking... What the hell? What the fuck? This is absurdly bad.
This is your
Scarlet Witch the one who prompted the response of Ultron, though? The one who gave him the nightmare to create Ultron?
Yeah.
And then there's people fucking standing this.
Did you actually come into this expecting the story to be good?
No.
He expected to have a happy ending.
You know, I don't know what he expected. I didn't expect much, and I was so let down.
I'm just trying
Now
to make
he was
sense of it.
getting
They're
ready
offering
for a
full
gala
backstory.
tonight for a fundraiser and raising funds for victims of the terrorist Avengers' actions. So he was surprised when he got a phone call. Stark, Tony says. Tony, we have a problem, Princess Shuri says.
Wait,
What
he
is it,
said
oh
Stark?
savvy tech princess, Tony
He just
asks.
answers the phone with Stark? He wasn't
Apparently.
referring to Stark, it's him.
You have to be Stark raving mad to like this fic.
The terrorist
He just
Avengers have
answered the phone
stolen
with
a
his
jet.
own
They are
name.
heading to New York. Be on your guard. Why is...
So
I
fucking
don't
bad.
understand.
So bad.
Welcome to the party of confusion.
Tony swears this day was just getting better and better.
And I swear this is getting dumber and dumber.
Yeah, it's getting worse and worse.
Steve and his team had gone to Wakanda with Bucky and decided to stay with the blessings of T'Challa. Steve hadn't been able to see Bucky since he went into cryo 7 months ago. He and the team had been getting restless being cooped up in the palace East Wing for all that time. Steve thought it was rude of T'Challa to confine them to just one wing. They couldn't even go
Like they're not
outside.
war criminals.
Wanda often ranting about Tony taking her freedom and her family. He couldn't blame the kid. After all, Tony had done a lot of bad things. But Steve knew Tony felt guilty about it. Scott ranted about how he never was going to see his daughter again, all because Tony made him a criminal. Sam was angry that Tony hadn't kept his word as going to Steve as a friend. And then Sam saw Steve's cuts and knew Tony had not kept his word. Steve didn't feel the need to correct him. Natasha ranted in Russian about Tony being petty and selfish, that he needed to see that she did everything for the best. Clint often growled and ranted about how Tony had taken everything from him. As divorce papers had come in for him,
Oh my
they didn't know
gosh.
how.
Divorce papers. What
And
even
Laura
is the
had gotten
point?
full custody of the
Ugh.
kids, too. Clint yelled about how it was Stark's
Took
fault.
the kids!
Steve
The
couldn't help but
fucking
agree.
kids.
Stark
This
took
is
the
like an
kids!
episode of Jerry Springer's at this point.
You are not the father.
Like, legitimately, this feels like an episode of Jerry Springer's, but it's like a bootleg version of it somehow.
No, it's like a screenwriter who tried to write the
It's
plot of Jerry Springer episode, but he had a fucking seizure.
All of them were now watching the TV, but Natasha and Clint were sharpening their weapons. The news report was focused on a...
She uses a gun! And a bow!
She's sharpening her old
She's
gun.
sharpening her gun.
Yeah, not sharpening, she's sharpening it.
She's sharpening her bullet.
No, it's not sharpening, it's sharping.
A quarter of the way through. How? How are we not even? I was hoping we were like halfway through already.
She's sharpening it with a wheat stone.
Yeah. The news report was focused on a press conference for Tony Stark. Steve missed Tony so much. They had been going out before all the mess with the ridiculous accords, which he knew Tony knew in his heart was wrong.
Just get past all the filler and just finally just execute us with the penetration, please. Quit torturing us. Quit torturing us. And just get the penetration.
Haven't you read the description of my channel? This is for your suffering.
That's it? Just for our suffering?
Yep.
It's almost better we just had to worry about Percy killing Apollo.
They watched as Tony gave a conference about Stark Industries and the Avengers. I have a fundraising gala tonight for victims of the terrorist Avengers, and King T'Challa of Wakanda and other dignities will be there, Tony says. Mr. Stark, what do you think for the terrorist Avengers? Will they ever be accepted back? A reporter asks. The rogues all growled when they heard they were not being called the terrorist Avengers. My opinion... I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be now.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense. I was bro, you need like grammar.
This story makes sense? What?
My opinion doesn't matter. As for acceptance, the terrorist Avengers will never be accepted back to the Avengers. Mr. Rogers, the former Captain America, Mr. Barton, the former Hawkeye, Miss Romanoff, the former Black Widow, and Mr. Wilson, the former Falcon, will not be coming back to the Avengers. If they wanted to be Avengers, they now have to face a panel made up with members from the United Nations and the new Avengers. They have to have a clean police record. They also have to physically try out and have a psychological profile done. If they don't pass any of those tests, they will never get into the Avengers program, even if we offered it.
I dipped out for a second. What did I miss?
Basically, Steve's very shocked people have to be sane and physically fit to be superheroes.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Damn.
even though apparently you would think that Tony would bomb that test.
Tony's
They did
already
say
in
Iron
the
Man was
Avengers,
good, but he wasn't.
so he doesn't actually have to pass any of these tests.
He makes the rules. He doesn't have to follow them.
Yeah,
Fucking
Yeah, do as I say, not as I do.
He's a typical lawmaker. He's a typical lawmaker.
But, like, legitimately, this is nothing. Like, if it's like the idea of saying. Wasn't the whole idea behind this them saying basically making a bridge between the United Nations and the Avengers?
What the fuck you trying to say?
Yeah.
I like how you cut him off as soon as he gets to the point of what he's saying.
I had to.
No, he's like that kid. Like, you ever had a dream where the, where the...
I am that kid, but also it's because of Arabian Nights. It's pretty much made my brain to a mess.
Steve was shocked about the requirements that new Avengers would have to go through. This wasn't right. Steve knew the Accords Council would have made Tony say that. Mr. Lang, the former Ant-Man, was never an official Avenger, and with his past record, he should have never gotten into the Avengers group. As for Miss Maximoff, the former Scarlet Witch, she would have never been given a chance for her actions in the Ultron mess. Should have proven she would never have passed the psychological profile, as she would be labeled a terrorist from the start as she joined Hydra willingly. And if she did, she would have had to train to harness her powers, which was never done, Tony says.
Fucking willingly? Wasn't she, like, imprisoned with her brother?
An experiment.
That's true, but I think she signed up for the experiments.
Yeah.
Damn.
And she did keep willing Tony just because
WandaVision, it goes into her backstory a bit, and she was willing.
Yeah, I think it goes into it in Scarlet Witch as well, that she signed up for the experiment and then accidentally managed to awaken the Scarlet Witch with the Mind Stone.
I'm happy I did not review this pick. I would not be as kind as I was with our first one. I would definitely just tell her, wow, this is a steaming pile of horseshit.
I've seen
Also,
reviews.
she wasn't known as the Scarlet Witch yet.
You ever seen reviews before that it said this story or your video content? It has helped me through a very difficult decision where I was very conflicted on ending my own life, and after I've reviewed your content, I'm now ready to kill myself.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You started with that, and I was like, I've made a very difficult decision in my life, and past this, I've decided to kill myself.
I've seen those.
Thank you for giving me the strength I never knew I had.
Exactly.
Steve sees Wanda's hands crackle with magic. Clint puts a hand on her shoulder. It's all right, Wanda. He is a bastard, Clint says to her.
He really is.
That has so much certainty in it. He is a bastard.
I mean,
he's a bastard son of a whore, and his mother fucked a ghost.
Yeah,
And
he took my whole family, and he calls me a terrorist when he is the one, Wanda says. What if they are pardoned like two of the backup Avengers, a reporter asks.
What?
What the fuck did I just hear?
I don't think I understand.
I don't think I understand your question. As the two backup Avengers were controlled by mind control and are making up for their mistakes, even though they weren't willingly doing anything. The terrorist Avengers haven't done anything of the sort.
Controlled by.
Bucky was being controlled by...
I know, it doesn't tell you, though. It doesn't tell you ever, actually. It didn't even tell you what Loki was controlled by. I assume it was the Scepter via Thanos.
That's because it's assuming you already know Marvel.
Loki wasn't mind controlled, though, was he?
He wasn't mind controlled, but he was being manipulated.
They retconned it later to say that, oh no, he was totally under mind control by the staff. That's why he was being evil, and so they could make him a good guy later.
Well, the Mind Stone was controlling literally everyone around it.
Yeah, I didn't know it was canonical, actually. I thought it was just a, fandom thing.
Yeah, but like, in the first movie, you assume, oh, he's the one in control, and he's the one that is controlling everyone, and he controls the Mind Stone. But then they later retconned it to say, no, the Mind Stone was controlling him, and that's why he was being evil and controlling.
So Captain
I wouldn't
America
say controlling. It's more like influencing. Aside from those people, he specifically touches the chest.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that mean the infinitely powerful cornerstone of the universe is evil?
It isn't great, yeah.
It's not evil, because gosh.
It depends on how you define evil.
You look at this fucking thing and tell me there's a good God.
The terrorist Avengers haven't done anything of the sort. And those two backup Avengers have now signed the Accords, and they answer to the Council, Tony replies.
The Council will decide your face.
I am the Council.
Council denied your
yes.
Mind control, that would never make a good defense. So Stark is already contradicting himself with no criminal records, Natasha says with disgust. What I mean is, if them are pardoned, will they be moving back into the new Avengers complex? The reporter asks. No, if they ever get pardoned, which is highly unlikely. They won't be moving into the Avengers complex, as I doubt they would be about to afford it, Tony says smoothly. What? Sam yells. They won't make us pay rent. I'm sure Tony will have us covered, Steve says calmly.
Why the hell is Steve... Oh, yeah, I know he's gay in this.
Yeah, Steve is gay. Steve is gay for Tony.
He's Tony for gay. He's Tony for gay.
Steve knew the Council would be telling Tony to say all of this, as Tony was always helping them. What does that mean, Mr. Stark? A reporter asks. The Avengers complex is partially owned by Stark Industries, but everyone has to pay rent to live there. The complex has been fitted with the very best technology and the very best security system to make it safe for everyone to live there. The only difference in rent is for those families we allow into the complex to live with their family Avenger member. A room at the complex is expensive, and not all the current Avengers can afford it. All families get a discounted rate, Tony replies. But you can pay for them. Didn't they live off your money last time? A reporter asks.
Chance of having families.
What?
I said none of the current Avengers seem to have much of a chance of continuing their bloodlines or having really big families. Considering, they're all fucking Tony.
Yep.
Oh, that's where the impreg part comes into play.
Oh no.
They can have families. Don't you worry, lad.
Fucking Zero, you are absolutely a fucking sadist because you cannot disguise the glee in your fucking voice.
I am getting so much energy from this. This is amazing.
You're welcome.
You use some of that energy to
You
write
know
Elemental
what?
Trinity.
You know what? I'm gonna write myself a fanfic with
Completely ignore Elemental Trinity. Just focus on the big three.
Yep. That is the plan.
Wait, question: does Arabian Nights? Does she have a
boyfriend? Yes.
Fic? No, fuck off. A slash smut fic of Star Wars with whoever and Sidious, and is it called Insidious?
No,
I don't think she has any Star
considering your
Wars
naming
at all.
convention, you can make one.
I was thinking of that. That's what
The title name is very specific, buddy.
You did change one to see the war.
She doesn't have any Star Wars at all.
Wow.
Oh, thank God for that. I don't have to
Yeah,
worry
no one
about
likes Star Wars.
I like Star Wars.
Say that demand. Say that demand.
Sure.
I can't
I
wait
mean,
till
he
fucking
does
Star
regularly.
Wars
Stories.
Insidious fic.
No, Everpeach. The one true pairing of Star Wars, no matter how much man denies it, is gender bent Anakin and Obi-Wan. Just send that to him. Just say that to him.
I thought the best pairing was Raylo. Oh, Raylo forever.
Oh god.
It's the only reason you haven't been kicked from the server is because you're an admin.
You guys heard that story about a woman that was watching the last Star Wars movie, and then when they kissed, she went, "Yay!" And then he died right after, and she went,
Dude, I'm so glad I never fucking watched the last Star Wars movies. I stopped at
Thing is, I have not watched Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, moving on.
When I started
The
watching
key to that question is
the
did.
last Star Wars movies, I wanted to kill myself because of how badly they were written.
Well, let's just ignore Star Wars right now.
Yeah.
Anything is better than this.
These last couple of months have found out we need a chain of command within the Avengers, and within the divisions of the Avengers. That means I can no longer justify paying for other members, as it creates unfair power. The only members that get my funding are those under the age of 18. And I don't think I should pay for terrorists, Tony replies. Bastard, Natasha growls. We are not terrorists. We were doing the right thing, Scott exclaims. How
yes,
could you do this
fighters.
to me, Wanda yells. What charges will they face when they are found, a reporter asks.
I'm just imagining
Terrorism.
fucking all of them just like with fucking AK-47s in a dusty room.
I swear, if it doesn't say terrorism in the list after calling them terrorists for the past 500 years.
Yeah, if they don't have charges of like sedition, terrorism, usurping government, or any shit like that.
If fucking Steve Rogers isn't wearing a white, cloth outfit and releasing random videos of himself talking, they're just gonna be half-assing it, aren't they?
Steve
He's the new
saw
Mandarin.
Tony take a pause, like he was considering the next words carefully, which he probably was. Steve didn't see that they had any charges, as they had done the right thing in every situation. Mr. Rogers, Mr. Wilson, will be charged with destruction of a tunnel in Bucharest that killed 8 people, as well as 3 members of the police that were sent to arrest them. They will be charged with illegally entering Romania. On top of that, Mr. Lang and Mr. Barton will be charged with Mr. Rogers and Mr. Wilson with the destruction of the airport in Germany. Thankfully, nobody died there. In addition, Mr. Rogers will be charged with what happened with the data dump and the destruction over the Potomac rover in Washington. Miss Romanoff will be charged with aiding and abetting, crimes that she did in the past, breaking a legal document, assisting in the deaths of Shield
That's a
agents
bit
from the
odd.
data dump in Washington, for forcing the Hulk out in Slovakia when Dr. Banner refused to transform and running from authorities. They all will be charged with escaping prison.
This is all shit that fucking Tony was complicit in.
Mr. Lang will also be charged with stealing technology from Dr. Pym. Miss Maximoff will be charged for what she did under Hydra, her part in the Ultron situation.
This is like trumped up charges.
And the destruction of Slovakia, setting the Hulk loose in Johannesburg.
With
the explosion in Legos,
quote-unquote terrorists.
Adding and abetting wanted crimes, and her part in the destruction of the airport in Germany. She will also be charged with mind rape, Tony says, listing them all off.
Yeah, the thing is, mind rape don't exist in any legal legislation.
Yeah. Like, I see it, but
it does now.
This is not a crime. It's not a crime if it's not against the law.
You live off the pain.
Yeah, like cannibalism, is it illegal? I don't know. I don't believe it is illegal everywhere.
Eating human flesh is not illegal. Killing someone and eating them, yes. Now, digging up a corpse, that is considered desecration of a corpse. But if somebody got
any way you get to cannibalism is illegal. Cannibalism itself, though.
If somebody got randomly hit by a car and they die, and then
why the
chunk out of their
are you talking about the legality of
if you're a hobo walking
and
on the
desecration
highway and someone gets hit. Yeah, but what if they're alive while it's happening? Then it's just assault.
Let's just not talk about cannibalism, please.
Yeah, I'm already hungry enough, guys.
But human flesh is so crunchy.
I mean, it does taste like pork.
That bastard! He started all of that, Clint growls. What the hell is mind rape? Natasha asks. There's no such thing, Sam says. What is the mind rape charge? The reporter asks. Mind rape is a new law which had been put in place
charge someone ex post facto
after everything that has happened. Everpeach, you're looking for real world logic in a Radiant Arabian Nights fanfic.
I'm sorry, but seriously,
you should be sorry.
Zero.
Bro,
dude, this
girl,
really dumbass does not know how the world actually works.
She doesn't have to know how the world works. It works like this in her world.
Bitch. Wake up to reality, bitch.
This is amazing.
Which had been put in place after everything that has happened. Those with telepathic powers who choose to go into the minds of others or control them without their permission is mind rape. Those who can't help but read thoughts are on a list and are given special consideration, Tony replies.
So I'm guessing Xavier's right off that list.
How do you tell the difference, a reporter asks. Avenger and Supreme Sorcerer Stephen Strange evaluates powers. And he is the one to tell the difference, Tony replies. Yeah, sure, that guy is a Supreme Sorcerer. I can beat him. I am not afraid of that would-be magician, Wanda scoffs.
Have you seen his shoes? They're definitely Supreme. That's the only qualification.
What counties want each one? A reporter asks. Germany wants Mr. Rogers, Mr. Wilson, Mr. Lang, Mr. Barton, and Miss Romanoff. Slovakia wants Miss Romanoff and Miss Maximoff. Nigeria wants Miss Maximoff. South Africa wants Miss Maximoff. Russia wants Miss Romanoff. USA wants Mr. Rogers, Mr. Wilson, Mr. Lang, Mr. Barton, Miss Romanoff, and Miss Maximoff. Romania wants Mr. Rogers and Mr. Wilson, Tony replies. I don't think Wanda has even been to the USA at this point.
Thing is, Mr. Rogers did nothing wrong. He's just, a TV host.
No, she's been there. This is post-Civil War.
Yeah, which means that Hawkeye technically broke into an Avengers facility. That should also be breaking and entering in his list of charges.
Wouldn't Tony be charged with what's the right word? Reckless endangerment by detonating his reactor in Iron Man 1 or killing Obadiah?
What about the legal use of fireworks in Iron Man 3?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Tony's rich.
That's true.
That's right.
Also, though, the reactor only sent a beam up into the sky, so I mean, it's not like he was firing it at anyone.
Yeah, well, it was global warming. He was adding to the climate change.
Eco-terrorism.
Yep, eco-terrorist. Yep.
There is no way that they want us, Scott says. Tony will fix this, Steve assures them. What sentences do they face when they are caught? A reporter asks. Mr. Wilson will probably face 15 to 25 years. Mr. Lang will probably face 20 to 30 years. Mr. Barton will probably face 10 to 15 years. Miss Romanoff faces 40 to 50 years. Mr. Rogers faces 50 years or more, and Miss Maximoff faces life in prison, Tony replies. Rand really hates Wanda.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah, she deserves it. Come on.
I mean, have you seen what she did in WandaVision? I think he's just getting ahead of the curve here.
I've never seen the movie, so I don't know what you're talking about.
WandaVision is a Disney Plus series, not a movie.
Yeah, you see how out of touch I am.
What did she do?
She enslaved a town.
Massive mind control and reality warping.
Mind break.
Oh yeah, she also convinced a sorceress that she was a funny neighbor next door.
Bro, when you control the Sorcerer Supreme.
No.
Yeah, you control when you bum buddies with the fucking Sorcerer Supreme.
Natasha turns off the TV with a growl. That bastard! He can't do that to me, Wanda yells. Don't worry.
Jesus Christ.
Tony is just saying that because of the Accords Council. We need to help he get out from them. They are forcing him to say those things, Steve assures them. You really think so? Natasha asks. I know so. Tony is a good man, Steve says firmly. He killed my family, Wanda explains.
Not my fault you ran.
We must save my family!
He didn't do it. It was just his weapon as well, though.
The bandits are coming.
Hey, if I sell a car to somebody, if I sell my car to somebody and then said dumbass runs over a bunch of people, I didn't fucking kill him.
Yeah, but he specifically goes against terrorism. Because he went, oh crap, my weapons are going to terrorists, and immediately stopped it. But no one's ever told her that, and she's like, yeah, he's responsible for their deaths.
100%.
Sounds about right.
We must save my family.
The bandits are coming.
You have been playing for 7,500 and...
You should probably take a break. Or what if I could, Mom?
Yeah. Vote to stop reading this and go watch the latest episode.
Don't do it.
How amusing you think this is a democracy. This is
that's
not a
how
democracy.
Radiant Arabian Nights world.
Hey, I'd rather be
We all make
executed
mistakes.
traitor than this.
He regrets them, Steve says. We can go today. There's a gala tonight in New York. I want to say some things to that bastard in person, Clint says.
Jesus Christ, I think they might have a thing against Tony. Do you guys think?
Yeah, I think so. We can all sneak into the gala, can't we? Scott asked.
Is this supposed to be a smut story or what?
No, it's rated not M.
I think it's T.
Okay.
You're fucking joking me if it's T. If I don't get
It's only rated T.
But it's fucking worse.
Oh, she does have M-rated fics.
I'm begging you, stop.
All my stories are M-rated, and all of them shall be.
Bro, imagine not having an M-rated fic.
My stories are gonna be M-rated just because I'm probably gonna have like curses and shit in there, and it's also safer because you never know what you're gonna end up putting in the fic.
Yeah, one of my stories is
there's another. She has another reading fic that's rated M.
Okay, but
my rated M. Because
excuse me while I play Total War.
I've never wanted to kill myself more than ever seeing this, author. But man,
And there's an M-rated harem fic.
Hell yeah, this is what Dylan would love.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Titan
He'll probably
King
ask
and the unwanted harem.
that one prison guard he's
Oh,
friends with to shoot him.
It's Percy, Annabeth, Hestia, and Artemis.
Oh yes, all the virgin maiden goddesses, of course.
Well, technically there's Athena as well.
Annabeth's not a god because she's stupid.
I'm gonna grab some food. Hopefully, I'll be back.
Yeah,
he's ditching us.
That's code word for fucking off, basically.
We can. We just need to stay in the shadows, Natasha replies. How do we get there in time? I want to kill the bastard, Wanda growls with red magic sparks going off her fingertips. I can hack one of the planes, Natasha suggests. Avengers assemble, Steve says with a smile.
Dude, what the fuck? She literally says she wants to kill him.
Myself in the nuts.
Oh, but they're convinced that they're in the right, so they're perfectly justified to kill Tony.
I know, but Steve has been saying the entire time that
if I see another, grammar mistake, I'm gonna tap sack myself.
Well,
personally,
be
honestly,
prepared
in
to
my
do
opinion,
it because
Tony is much
you're
more
not going to.
reliable.
There's going to be more grammar mistakes. I can guarantee you.
Well, okay, looks like I'm not having children for the foreseeable future.
Steve and all the others sneak into the hangar. They don't see any security cameras, which was good for them. Natasha hacks into one of the good jets, which they knew was one of the fastest in the world. They get in with little effort, and Natasha sets the autopilot to go to New York. We must remember, be careful, T'Challa is at the event, Steve informs them.
And that's a grammar mistake.
We don't have any formal wear, Clint realizes.
This is his concern?
They all look at each other. That was one thing they forgot. Don't worry, I have us covered. They might be a bit snug, but they should do so we don't stand out, Natasha says, revealing a medium-sized suitcase. She hands them all some clothes, and they change just before landing. They had found out where the gala was being held. They head there after commending a SUV. Commandeering.
Yeah.
Well,
took me a
looks
second.
like it's there again.
Commending an SUV. I'm imagining him standing next to an SUV and just giving it compliments.
Right?
Real good job.
Just standing there for an hour just commending the SUV.
You got them to the soccer field. You bought groceries.
You did good, son. They see all the press was at the front of the building and guests were arriving fast. They make their way through a back door and start to go out to one of the balconies.
He's trying to do to Tony. But
okay, if this is a big gala like this, there would be security out the ass there.
Well, obviously, but that doesn't fit in with Rand's agenda for this fix, so logic goes out the window.
Well, it's just like, yes, we casually walk in through the back door.
So what is our plan of attack, Clint asks. I say we shot first and ask questions later. I will approach him.
There's another grammar mistake.
I will approach him and ask him to talk to us. Now he is not with the Accords Council. He should be free to speak, Steve replies. I say go with Clint's idea. I would use my magic on him, Wanda says.
Wait,
No,
doesn't Wanda specifically go out of her way to do?
I could use my magic on him. There we go.
And also, doesn't Wanda go specifically go out of her way to say?
So does anyone see him? Steve asks.
Not magic.
I have returned again.
Welcome. They just decided to go in the back door.
Hell yeah.
Considering the fucking subject matter of this fic, I don't know whether that's an innuendo or not.
Oh, it was 100% an innuendo.
Yeah, I think I'm just
Clint
gonna
and
go
Clint
back
and
to watching
Wanda
anime
want
and
to
writing
just
before
attack him
bed.
without saying
Back in
anything.
here.
But Steve wants to talk to him.
Yeah.
They
Well,
look
that'll be
over
a
all the
woman by
guests,
the
and
end
their
of it.
eyes soon find Tony Stark, laughing with guests, wearing a black suit with a red tie and gold patch. His arm was held
What
close to his
the
chest,
fuck?
and his smile was slightly wrong on his face. Next to him was someone they thought was long missing, Bruce Banner, who was laughing with Tony and looking more relaxed, but still a bit tense. And another man was with them that they thought was Stephen Strange. Bruce, Natasha whispers. We will have to take to him too, Steve decides.
And here we go.
I wonder when he got back, and what Stark told him, Sam says. I want to see what lies Stark told Bruce, Clint growls. God knows he wouldn't agree with those accords. I will approach them, and we will meet in that dark corner over there, Steve says, pointing at a reasonable dark corner in the room. All right, be careful, Natasha says. Steve slowly makes his way into the crowd to Tony, making sure he wasn't looking at anyone so he couldn't be recognized. Tony, Steve says softly. Tony stiffens and shakes a bit. His arm, that was still damaged, clutches his shirt tighter. Bruce and Stephen had heard his name said and turn around with Tony and sees Rogers near them. Bruce takes a deep breath, hoping to hold off the Hulk, and puts his hand on Tony. Stephen frowns and puts his hand on Tony's shoulder to keep him calm. Tony takes a deep breath. He was scared of Rogers, but he wouldn't let Rogers know that. As long as he had Bruce and Stephen near him, he would be right, and James and Loki would notice soon and come over. Loki had convinced James to have a break from protection duty. James hardly left Tony's side, but he did this once because Tony insisted. And Tony was...
Because he changed his name to James, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but why?
Why not?
Why not?
He thought when Shuri called him Rogers and the terrorist Avengers wouldn't be stupid enough to come here. How wrong he was. Because Rogers was here, and so would the others. Rogers, Tony says stiffly. Steve frowns at Tony's use of his last name. It had always been Cap. What was with the last name? It was like on the helicarrier all those years ago. The Accords Council wasn't here, so why was Tony using his last name? Bruce, Steve says to Bruce. Rogers, Bruce says coldly. Steve frowns again. Why was Bruce using his last name? He never did before. So this is the famous Stephen Rogers, Stephen says coldly. What are you doing here, Rogers? When the tech princess of Wakanda phoned me and told me you had all taken her jet, I didn't think you would be stupid enough to come here, Tony says. What do you mean? We just borrowed it, and nobody saw us, Steve says, frowning. Then you have underestimated Princess Shuri, Tony says coldly. Can we talk in private? You, Bruce, and the rest of us? Steve asks. Fine, Tony says with a sigh. But I need to talk to Stephen first. Steve worriedly looks at Strange, as Strange gives him a look. Stephen, get James, Loki, Thor, Carol, Rhodey, Hope, T'Challa, Daisy, Sharon, Fantastic Four, and the others ready. We might need them.
Fantastic Four?
Projecting his thoughts to Stephen.
They have the fucking Fantastic Four. Wait, hold.
Just casually dropping the Fantastic Four into the universe.
Damn. What's next, Doctor Doom? Stop, please.
Also,
no, don't answer that.
Yep.
Tony had developed mild magic powers months ago. He was a telepathy technopath technomage, and he could shield his thoughts. Stephen had taught him that one. Will you be okay? Tony projects thinks to Tony. Stephen projects thinks to Tony, not Tony. I will try to be. You will all have my back, and Bruce is next to me. Keep Rhodey from going out of the deep end, though, And warn Laura and Maggie, Tony thinks. I will. We will be watching. Have your earpiece switched on, Steven thinks back. Tony uses his technopath powers to switch on the earpiece's audio function. He would be able to hear his team from wherever they were. And they would be able to give him advice.
Fucking Christ, is this a Wattpad thing?
Tony already had it on since he was partially deaf. But this was a different function. Sir, do you want me to alert the Accords Council? Jarvis asks in Tony's head. Tony had found a backup of Jarvis a few months ago, and had gotten him back up. He also still had Friday, and he had Yocosta.
The fucking a cop?
No, Jay, just keep watch, Tony thinks back. Very well, sir, Jarvis replies. So he can communicate telepathically with his AI now.
Damn, what's next? An actual, good part of the story? I have a quick. Where do you find this stuff? It's like nightmarish.
Thank Ryle for this. Ryle posted, or actually, no, this one wasn't Ryle. This one was Noah. Noah posted excerpts of King of Magic several months ago. And so I decided to start reading King of Magic in the VC. And it has snowballed from there.
God almighty, why?
I read all of King of Magic, by the way. All
These are
10
deep,
chapters.
well-written stories.
My fucking God. Oh, wait, fucking dinner time, shit. Well, it seems I must
We're
be
only
off.
halfway there.
Fine, I'll stay.
Lead the way, Rogers, Tony hisses. Steve tries to take Tony's hand back. Tony backs up and goes slightly behind Bruce, which Bruce lets, knowing how much Tony feared Steve because of the shield to the chest. Steve could see Tony shaking, and it wasn't cold in here, so why was he? Maybe he was sick. Just come on, Rogers, and don't touch Tony, Bruce says. Okay, Steve says with a sigh. Steve leads them to a dark corner. He notices that Tony was limping and wondered why that was. Had Tony been attacked recently? He would have to help Tony. Going to the dark corner makes Tony nervous. Tony sees the whole terrorist Avengers. Oh look, the whole terrorist Avengers, what joy, Tony says sarcastically. You can talk, you bastard, Wanda growls, her hands flickering red. There's no need for that, Stark, Natasha says. He is a bastard, Clint says. Is that all Clint can say? Like, my God.
He like Pokemon, except with the word bastard.
He's a bastard.
Clint,
you can talk, Barton, after leaving your family, Tony growls. You stole them from me by labeling me a fugitive. Laura is divorcing me, Clint snarls. You should have followed the law. You left them alone and undefended. If I haven't gathered people to help, they would have been hurt. Laura is within her rights after putting up with your bullshit for all these years, Tony says
Wasn't Laura in hiding?
Yeah.
Bro, they like
Hawkeye had his family in hiding.
That annoyed me so much.
Steve knew this was getting out of hand, so he would have to stop this. Tony, it is okay. I am here now, Steve says softly. What are you talking about, Rogers? Tony asks coldly. There's nothing wrong here, Bruce says. Bruce, when did you get back? Natasha asks. A few months ago. Been helping here ever since, Bruce says coldly. Why did you leave? Natasha asks. Did she really say that? Sharon says in the earpiece. You set the Hulk loose on Slovakia, Bruce says, going slightly green. Tony puts his hand on Bruce, and Bruce calms down. He didn't want to hurt Tony. After all, Tony was already hurt. We needed you to turn, Natasha defends. It should have been on his terms, Tony growls. Oh, that is rich coming from you, Stark, Sam says. Tony, Steven just found me. Are you alright? Let me know if I have to punch Steve, or rip his ass a new one. I will interfere if he starts anything.
Yeah, they'd all be about ripping his ass a new one.
Hell yeah.
Do you need me now? James says frantically in the earpiece. I am fine physically for now, Tony thinks to him. Why did you come? Tony asks. We are getting you away from the Accords Council. They are controlling you, Steve says. So you stole a plane and came here because of assumptions, Tony asks. We didn't steal a plane, Scott protests. Hacking my jet my sister put a lot of effort into isn't stealing? T'Challa asks rhetorically. You stole it. You didn't ask permission from King T'Challa or Princess Shuri, so yes, you did. Tony says calmly. Nobody saw us. I told you this, Tony. Steve says. You are underestimating Shuri. She had cameras all over the hangar and a tracking device on the jet. Tony replies. We didn't see none, Natasha says with the ground.
Dude, you need to say that in a southern accent.
We didn't see none.
We didn't see none.
Because he sounds so stupid
we
there.
Didn't see nothing.
If this was the actual Natasha living in Wakanda, she would just assume the entire place is a camera.
Yeah.
Because the technology is that stupid.
Because she is a genius. I have cameras you can't see either, Tony replies. T'Challa will let it go. He is helping us, Steve states. I seriously doubt it, Bruce mutters. I won't. They have taken advantage of my help, T'Challa says in the earpiece. Why did she let us take it then? Sam asks. She knew that if she didn't help you get into it, you would force your way in. So she opened the door and allowed you. Then she called me, Tony replies. That's gotta hurt Black Widow's pride. Saying that Shuri opened the door and let them in.
That is incredibly insulting, yeah.
That doesn't matter. All of this will be cleared up. We are here to help you, Tony. Now we will help you and Bruce, Steve says, trying to reach for Tony
again. Killed by Thanos.
But Tony backs up to Bruce.
What about Thanos?
Yeah, what about Thanos?
They're gonna get killed by Thanos in a few years because of this.
Probably.
I mean, he should have already killed them because the ship with Thor and the others should have never reached Earth. So this is already assuming Infinity War doesn't happen.
Or this is written before. Honestly, if you were actually right, this is 2019, so yeah, it's after Infinity War, isn't it?
When was this?
Oh wait, no, 2019 is after Infinity War. So maybe the unforeseen consequences are them getting fucking bodied by Thanos because they got rid of like half of the Avengers.
Yo. Peach,
Hello.
you have summoned me.
Yeah, dude, you took a few hours. You missed some high quality shit.
Well, that's the problem. I didn't see the notification until it popped up on my phone, and I have so many Discord notifications on my phone that it literally... Yeah, if you can't hear, I have COVID.
Oh, fuck, that sucks.
I'm gonna give it to you through the mic.
Oh, get away from me.
Fuck off.
Go away.
I am the unvaxxed.
I am the half-vaxxed.
I am the soon-to-be vaxxed.
Don't try and touch him, Bruce growls, going
Radiant
slightly
Arabian
green.
Nights, the best fanfic author in the world.
Radiant Arabian Night?
Tony, we are here to save you, Steve tries again. I am not, Wanda mutters. What are you talking about, Rogers? I don't need saving, and before you say Bruce, he doesn't either, Tony replies, ignoring Wanda's comment. The Council and the Wizard are doing something to you, Steve says. I mean, the Wizard might be.
He's diddling him.
Is this like a bad fanfic?
It's a really bad fanfic.
Yeah, it's a Radiant
terrible.
Arabian Nights fanfic.
Oh god, I don't know who that is, but it sounds bad.
Horrifying.
Have you seen the memes about King of Magic?
Nope.
Look through the pins in this channel. Like in the Myths Fiction Room channel.
Myth Fiction Room. Look at the pins. What is this? I see Aragon.
No, that not the Aragon stuff. The further down on the pins.
What am I looking for?
The name lists.
Harold, James, George, the entire list there. And a
List
bunch of
of
things they
nicknames?
post.
Hey, at least I'm not on
Jesus
there.
Christ.
Not yet.
Oh, son of a bitch! Don't you fucking dare!
Give it a minute.
Oh my god.
This specific one,
What am I
I
looking
just
for?
posted a link to it, is all one sentence.
This is all very much corrupted by Slanesh.
You have a 90-story library with 3 other small libraries: flu rooms, port key rooms, portal rooms, teleportation room, ballrooms, 63 living rooms. When you hire a butler, they will have the butler quarters, a huge kitchen, and 15 dining rooms, formal dining rooms, elf quarters, luxury bathrooms in every bedroom, a spa, hot tub, jacuzzi, and sauna, a huge pool inside and one outside. There's a pool with a water slide, theme park. The pool also has a driving board at different heights and a wave maker. And whirlpool maker. I'm gonna kill myself because I have COVID and I'm reading this. Theme park with every roller coaster you could imagine, an amusement park, bungee jumping room, games room, movie room with surround sound, theater room, meditation room. I'm gonna pass out. Virtual reality room, illusion room, mirror.
This is giving me flashbacks.
Mirror room, remembrance room, indoor forest, indoor. Yeah, I can't. I'm gonna
Tap out, man.
So,
I don't want you to die.
So, should I read the name for posterity?
Hold up, I need some more water. What the fuck?
Yeah, I've got to read the name just one last time.
No, don't do it.
Oh my god.
Harold, James, George, Arthur, Philip, Albert, Richard, Loki, Blackstark, Slytherin, Gaunt, Stewart, Sayre, Quirrell, Peveril, LeFay, Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, Moonlily, Pendragon, Merlin, Emery, Ryan, Alvermorny, Salem, Flamel, Beauxbatons, Chisisi, Uagadu, Romanoff, Bonham, Fleamont, Barnes, Goldstein, Da Vinci, Coldstoritz, Washington, Franklin, Jefferson, Hancock, Adams, Van Gogh, Anderson, Buckman, Harkness, Redbird, Evans, Tudor, Ryan, Hohenzollern, Summer, Winter, Avalon, Ironcourt, Bones, Nicholas, Lestrange, Potter.
Damn it.
I had to do it one last time.
I couldn't read it.
Damn, I could have read an entire Zero fic by then and actually enjoyed it. Bro,
Okay,
fics are great.
back to
I
this
was
piece
literally
of
about
trash.
to pass out. I was like 10 seconds from passing out.
Yeah, dude, just breathe.
Yeah.
All right,
Looking
back
so
to
good.
this piece of trash.
Looking circle joke. Shit circle.
The only saving I need is for what you are going to do.
Where's
The
that?
council is nothing to worry about. I spent several months negotiating with them, something you all didn't think of doing. And as for Stephen, he would never harm me, Tony replies. You turned the public against us, Stark. You turned
have done
Laura
that
against
yourself.
me. She has divorced me and won't let me talk to my children because of you, Clint growls. Barton, you don't know anything. I haven't turned anyone against anyone. You did that all yourself with all your acts.
You have
And
done
you-
that yourself.
And did you think
You're
of your
not with
ex-family when you left them?
You are my enemy.
They were in danger after the airport scene came on the news. And they knew where to find your family because the bitch spy, Black Widow, leaked those files onto the internet. I only barely got them help in time, Tony replies.
Never mind.
Tony, I know you're scared, but you don't need to be nasty. When the wizard comes, it will be 8 against 1, Steve says softly. The wizard is actually a supreme sorcerer named Stephen Strange, and he is one of my dates. Tony replies.
Gay?
Gay.
Yeah, Tony is the big gay. Tony has 4 boyfriends.
I'm gonna go ahead and go heat myself up some chicken and mashed potatoes then while you guys read this gay part because I'm not gonna be here for this.
The entire story is gay.
This entire story is the big gay. Tony has 4 boyfriends.
Why are you reading this then?
For your suffering.
Well, I'm gonna go eat some chicken.
You'll think about the big gay though?
No.
Dates?
Not at all.
Oh yeah, and Tony and Steve used to date.
Yeah, they used to date.
No.
Steve knew Tony couldn't really be dating him, as Tony loved him. Yes. Did you really think I would be with you when you injured me so badly? Tony asked rhetorically. That is a load of bullshit, Stark, Wanda growls. Steve would have never harmed you, Sam says. Well, then you don't know him very well then, do you? Tony asks icily. Rogers indeed hurt Tony, and we won't be letting anything happen to him again, Bruce confirms. Tony, he has a spell on you. Come to me and you will be safe, I promise you, Steve says, coming over to Tony.
That's super fucking gay, that line. Holy shit.
Dude, this entire fic is gay and his...
Tony stumbles back, but is caught by familiar arms of his boyfriend, James. Punk, leave Tony alone, James growls, helping Tony up. Bucky? Steve asks.
Like that, I am jumping
It is
off the bridge.
James. Stay away from Tony, James replies.
Bucky is
How
now
did you
James,
get
by the
here?
way.
Yeah,
I thought you were still in
Bucky
Wakanda
changed his
in
name to
cryo.
James for no fucking reason.
What?
That's just
Sounds like, it sounds like if JoJo's actually gay. But just gayer than JoJo.
Since Shuri couldn't help you, Steve asks. She couldn't help me, but Tony did. I went to him to turn myself in. He ended up helping me with the BARF program, and got me a pardon as long as I stayed with the Avengers, James replies. That is great, Buck. You can get us pardons too, Tony, Steve exclaims excitedly. Not likely, Carol says in the earpiece. I can't get you pardons, Tony says with a small smirk. We did nothing wrong. You know that, Stark, Natasha replies. You used to get us out of trouble, Steve protests. The key word was used. I don't do that anymore. We have a chain of command. You did the crimes under your free will, so you will have to be punished, Tony replies. We had no choice, Clint says. Of course you did, but you left me and the children, a woman's voice says.
Drama.
Wait, fucking, what, pardon? we need to hold up for a second. Tony has kids?
No. Clint Barton has kids.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, she's like, Tony took his wife and kids.
Damn, that's an
The terrorist Avengers turn and see Laura Barton coming over. Laura, Clint says softly and reaches for her. Laura pulls away and stands with Tony. You have no right, Clint. You have laid your bed and you must lie in it. I will not be waiting for you, Laura replies. If this wasn't so gay, this could go really good for Tony. Tony puts a hand on Laura. Stark, get your hands off my wife, Clint growls. I am not your wife anymore.
Don't worry, you know.
And Tony has been the one supporting me and the children, Laura replies.
Is the author fucking schizophrenic or some shit? God damn.
She is the autistic.
Yes. And other mental disorders, or so she claims.
Oh yeah, it's like a massive list.
Oh god.
Yes.
Bullshit. For attention.
That is low, Stark, stealing the wife of a purposed friend.
Purpose? Oh yes, suppose.
Wanda growls, her hands flicking red. I did no such thing. I would never take someone's choice away, unlike some people. Tony growls at Wanda. Tony, she hasn't done anything. Now come on, we will help you, Buck and Bruce. Steve replies, trying again to go at Tony and James. Punk, don't approach Tony. Stay back. James growls and steps in front of Tony. Suddenly, Loki was in front of them. Stay back, Rogers, Loki snarls.
The classic Radiant Arabian Nights, suddenly someone's there.
Yes. Loki, the terrorist Avengers exclaim. They draw their weapons. You did this. You took their free will away. Tony, Laura, Bruce, Bucky, I don't know if you can hear me, but you need to fight the mind control, Steve begs them.
Yes, common sense is mind control.
How many times, Rogers, must we tell you we are not under any spells? Leave now before the new Avengers arrest you all. This is your only and last warning. Tony says tiredly. You won't call them because Loki is here, Natasha points out. Why wouldn't I? Tony asks, raising an eyebrow. They would arrest him like the bastard deserves, Clint snarls. They wouldn't, as Loki has been cleared of charges because he was being mind-controlled by a powerful being known as Thantos. He was cleared by his Guardian Corps and Earth Corps. Loki is the ambassador to New Asgard, Tony explains.
The fuck?
New Asgard? Scott asks. Asgard was destroyed some months ago. Luckily, Thor, Loki, Heimdall, Bruce, and Valkyrie managed to get the civilian Asgardians to safety.
And
Valkyrie's name is Valkyrie?
Yeah. Terrible.
Thor then asked if Earth was stable enough to house the remaining Asgardians. The UN and the Accords Council agreed to allow them here. Thor is now king of them, and they have started building a new city, Tony explains. Asgard was destroyed? That wasn't possible, Steve thought. Loki had to be trying to trick them. Steve looks at his group, and they all don't look like they buy the story either. Tony, Bruce, Bucky, Asgard isn't destroyed, Steve says gently.
What the hell?
If it was, Loki would have something to do with it, Clint said grimly. How dare you say I would do something to harm my home? Loki growls.
Gee, I don't know. Why would Loki... You know, it's not like Loki has a history of fucking over Asgard or anything.
My brother had nothing to do with it. It was our older sister Hela, Thor says, grimly coming into view. Thor! Steve says, friendly, going to the man. But Thor moves to Tony, Loki, James, Bruce, and Laura standing with them. Get ready to move in, Carol orders through the earpiece. They are not seeing reason. I'm pretty sure the fact that it's gone from Tony and Bruce to a list, it means that they're already moving in. This is a little late, Carol. What have you done to them, Loki? Steve growls. I have done nothing. I would never harm them, Loki declares. Look, surrender. You won't get out of this now, Tony says tiredly. Sorry, Tony. We can't let you all go with Loki and the Wizard. This is not you, Steve says grimly, gesturing to his team. I am on a date with Loki, Steven, Bruce, and James, Tony explains. If you were in control, you won't never be with Loki and Strange. After all, Loki is done. So we will get you out of here, Steve replies. So you will kidnap us if we don't go with you, Tony asks.
This reminds me so much of all the, like, Sasuke bashing fics and all the other, like, bashing is the stupidest shit.
Yes. Call the Accords Council, Jarvis, Tony thinks. Already done, sir, Jarvis replies. If it is the only way for all of you to see sense, then yes, Steve says firmly. None of this behavior is you. Most of it is him, though. He is a murdering bastard, Wanda growls. Wanda, start to get them, Steve orders. Natasha, Clint, Sam, Scott, help me with them until Wanda breaks through to mind control. Stand down, Captain. You have taken advantage of my hospitality, King T'Challa says, coming over calmly. Can't do that. You're all being controlled, Steve says, gesturing again to his team. His team all get into positions. Wanda's red magic begins to approach Tony's group. People now around the gala take notice and begin screaming and running. Strange, get to them. Susan, get ready to shield. Quake, get all the public out of here. Vision, Black Panther, Agent 13, Wasp, Mr. Fantastic, Torch, The Thing, War Machine, Spider-Man, Daredevil, get ready to back up, Carol orders.
What the hell?
Damn, why not say the Flash?
Who's Agent 13?
Ain't she that chick from Ant-Man 2?
Yeah, the ghost chick.
Oh.
I could be wrong.
Wanda pushes her magic at Tony, who was just behind James. She wanted to pay him back
Oh,
for
never
taking
mind.
her family from her. What?
Agent 13 is Sharon Carter.
Oh.
So the granddaughter of.
Why didn't they just say Sharon?
Because Agent 13 sounds cooler. Even though she called her Sharon before.
Yeah. Tony raises his magic shields in his mind. Steve notices that Tony and the team look calm as everyone else around them had started running. That just proved that Tony was being controlled by Loki and the Wizard. But Tony had stepped in front of Laura. Just as the Scarlet magic hits Tony, throwing him back. There were yells from everyone. Wanda then tries to go to his mind, and it was going to hit Tony and the others. A green and orange shields appeared in front of them. Strange steps out of a portal and positions himself in front of James, who is in front of Tony now. Loki steps up in front of the others. Are you okay? Steven asks Tony with concern. Hurt a little, but you're here now. Tony replies, groaning from the floor, relaxing a little that Steven was there. His fake leg was out of place, and he had hit his damaged arm. He knew he was injured. Steve saw Tony's leg looked broken, and Steve felt guilty, but he knew it was for Tony's own good. Let them go, Steve orders. I know I'm hurting you, but it's for your own good. They are under no spells. Surrender before blood is shed. Everyone is ready to arrest you all, Steven orders. What do you mean, Sam asks. You just attacked Tony Stark, King Thor, Prince Loki, King T'Challa. That alone would get you arrested. But there already are warrants out for your arrest. So now stand down, James replies. Buck, you know this is wrong, Steve protests.
The name is James. Oh,
no, Stevie, you are wrong. We have all signed the accords, James replies. They are wrong, Steve says. No, you must listen to the people, Captain, and these accords are what they want, Thor says gravely. Did you even read them, Bruce asks. Didn't need to, for they were going to control us, Steve replies.
Didn't need to?
Yep, apparently Captain America doesn't need to read things before saying he's not going to sign it.
It does sound like he's definitely representing America there.
Wanda once again shoots her powers at the group, but Steven blocks it and makes motions with his hands, and orange magic flies at Wanda, and Wanda screams as it touches her, and she looks at her hands. What did you do? Wanda asks. I bound your magic. I am in charge to make sure all magic users use their powers wisely. When they don't, I bind them, or send them to the dark dimension. Steven replies coldly. What the fuck?
He sends things to Dormammu?
That's fucked up. Stupid.
I'm sorry, but you might be the bad guy now.
He sends things.
Dude, the fact that they're doing draconian shit like ex post facto sentencing and all this other stuff hasn't clued you into the fact that these are obviously the bad guys.
Yeah, but like this is a staple of this sort of fiction. Like the main characters are supposed to be amazing and good and whatever, but then at the same time they do shit like this.
Yeah.
God, this is great. I love it.
It is for your own good and for that of the team, a voice says. Wanda sees Vision approaching them. Viz, Wanda says, help me. No, back down, all of you, Vision orders. No, we will make you all see reason. By force, by the looks like it, Steve says, grimly. The terrorist Avengers attack, and a force field appears around Tony, Laura, and Bruce, and a woman who looked like him were kneeling down next to Tony. A woman with blonde hair was in front of them. War Machine flies in front of them with his guns all trained on them. Next comes Lady Sif with her sword in her hand. A woman in a suit was next to her, and Scott recognized her as Hope, his ex-girlfriend. 2 men appear in suits, and a rock-like being also comes in. The last one to join the defense was Sharon Carter. Stand down, Rhodes says, or we will use force, Sharon says, her gun trained on the Black Widow. Sharon, this is not you, Steve protests. You attacked my cousin. Aunt Peggy would be ashamed of you, Sharon replies, her gun not wavering. Cousin? Steve asks, confused. Tony is my cousin. He was Aunt Peggy's godson. So back off and surrender quietly, Sharon orders.
This is great. He was Aunt
She
Peggy's
just can't help
godson.
herself.
She just threw that in there. Like, we never heard of Peggy.
No, I don't think you all understand. This quite literally is a Wattpad fanfic.
No, this is a fanfiction.net fanfic.
No. This is a Radiant Arabian Nights fanfic. It's a category of its own. I mean, she has 706 stories.
Yeah, she's been on fanfiction since 2011.
Like, she
Probably
is
been
her
writing
own
longer than
category of fanfiction.
Wait, real? Damn.
She has 706 stories.
What the fuck?
And we're gonna read all of them.
Eventually.
1 year. One decade.
Steve couldn't believe that Tony was his Peggy's godson. That wasn't possible, as Tony would have mentioned it.
Why is he calling her his Peggy? He's fucking gay.
Maybe he's bi.
Do you honestly think that Radiant Arabian Nights knows what a bi person is? It's one or the other with her.
Steve, we should go, Natasha says urgently. Natasha turns to leave to find a woman behind her with blonde hair and in a suit similar to Steve's. And Spider-Man and another masked man was next to her. Stand down, Rogers. I am Captain Marvel, leader of the Avengers.
Captain Marvel, leader of the Avengers?
What the fuck?
Jesus Christ, fucking kill me now.
That was, yeah, these are the end times.
She won't come back for anything else, but she comes back for this party.
You are all under arrest, Captain Marvel orders. You all being controlled, Steve protests. No, we aren't. Prince Loki and Dr. Stephen Strange are allies, Captain Marvel says. Punk, stand down. I don't want to hurt you. But you just hurt Tony, so I will do it if I have to, James says. That proves you're controlled. You would never harm me, Steve says, smiling. Stand down, Mr. Fantastic says. No, Steve says as they step forward to fight. Steve goes to try to get Tony, but James blocks him with Captain Marvel coming to help, and starts to fight him. Hope was fighting Scott, Sam was facing Thor, Natasha and Lady Sif, Sharon Carter were fighting.
Sam was facing Thor?
Yes. Sam Wilson was fighting Thor.
Yeah, he's done.
And Clint and T'Challa were at it. Mr. Fantastic, The Thing, The Torch, Daredevil, and Spider-Man help from the sidelines, but don't get into the fighting. The Vision, Loki, and Steven were taking on Wanda, who was now powerless. Why is
Vision,
it taking
Loki,
all three
and
of them?
Steven?
Like, if she's now powerless, why is it taking all three of them?
Like, why don't they put Sharon to take on Wanda and the Vision fucking...
Job, that's why.
Jesus Christ.
Wanda was the first to go down. As she cried as Steven forcefully pulls her magic from her with the help of the Vision. Your powers came from the Mind Stone. Now they have been taken away with it, the Vision says quietly.
I'm sorry, the Vision is actually helping them, he would switch sides here.
Nope. He probably likes to bone Stark too in this one.
You won't be able to harm anyone again, Steven says. You can't do this, Wanda cries. We have, Loki says coldly.
Watch me.
Vision puts the handcuffs on her as Thor had just taken out own Sam, and Mr. Fantastic was helping, putting the cuffs on him. Scott was down and unconscious from a stringer from Hope. She was already binding him. Spider-Man had just knocked the knife out of Clint's hand with a web, and T'Challa immediately pushes him down and puts the cuffs on him. Natasha, get out of here, Clint yells. That was all that was needed to trip up Natasha, and Agent Carter had knocked the gun out of Natasha's hand, and Lady Sif had her sword at Natasha's throat. Stand down, Lady Sif orders. My God.
Beautiful. Such great writing of
such,
fight scenes.
Such genuine beauty.
Amazing choreography.
You know, it would be even more amazing if Tony ended up fucking dating Spider-Man or some shit.
Wait, hold up. What just? Natasha could see she was.
Clint yelled at Natasha, and that distracted her, so Agent Carter defeated her.
Yeah, before that, Natasha was able to fight both Carter and Lady Sif at the same time.
Yeah, but one distraction from Clint, and it's game over.
Game over, man. Game over.
Obviously.
The fuck? If they ever put that in an actual movie, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna commit self-die.
You're gonna commit Sudoku?
Yes, Sudoku.
Natasha could see she was not going to get out of this, and lowly puts her hands where they could see. Agent Carter puts the handcuffs on her.
Kinky.
Well,
Steve was still fighting James, Rhodes, and Captain Marvel. He was determined to get help for them. But then he hears his team crying out, and notices that they had all been taken down. Captain Marvel blasts Steve back after he was distracted, and he was knocked across the room. Steve struggles to get up, but James and Rhodes pinned him down, and Captain Marvel put on the cuffs. You're all under arrest, Captain Marvel says. You can't do this.
Supposed to be your... You are...
Yeah, I am ignoring that. Steve says, struggling in the handcuffs. We did. You all had many charges against you. There was nothing you could do to get out of them, Rhodes says. You hurt my best friend badly. And he is my boyfriend, and I will defend him. He gave me a second chance, James says, hurling Steve up and over to where the others were. I would never hurt Tony, Steve protests. You already did, a voice says. Steve and the others turn and see Tony what he was hiding. The leg they thought he broke was gone, and there was a prosthetic leg on the floor. His jacket was off, and they saw his arm was in a cast. He was leaning heavily into Steven. What happened to you? Steve chokes out. You did this is Siberia, as well as making me partially deaf, giving me a heart attack, Tony says coldly.
Jesus Christ.
What happened? Am I missing some context here for something that happened?
Yeah, at the end of Civil War, this writer says that all this happened to Tony.
Yeah, Tony lost his leg, broke his arm.
So where they battled?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been so long since I saw. No, not
the
Civil
ending
War.
fight left him crippled.
Oh wait, yeah,
the ending fight of Civil War left him crippled.
And PTSD and all that shit.
This attempt upon my life has left me greatly scarred.
Steve feels numb. He couldn't have done that to Tony. There was no way he would ever have done that. The other terrorist Avengers all look at Tony as shocked. Steve starts. Get them out of here, Carol, Tony interrupts. I don't want to hear anything they have to say. Let's go, everyone. A van is outside, Captain Marvel says. Tony, I can't have. Steve denies. You did, Bruce says coldly. looking after Tony with the help of his cousin Jennifer. Laura, I am sorry, Clint says to his ex-wife. No, you aren't. You would do it again, Laura says coldly. Hope, please, I am sorry, Scott says groggily. If you were, you would have turned yourself in, Hope says coldly. So many coldly responses.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, where's
a
the
little
mark?
cold.
You have sunken so low to turn your weapons on your brothers and sisters. I am afraid I will have to side with the man of iron. You have done something that should never have gotten this far, Thor says. You all will be charged with stealing a jet from my family. I can no longer protect you, King T'Challa says, helping the others. Aunt Peggy would be ashamed of you, Steve. This should never have happened, Sharon says, pulling Natasha along. The terrorist Avengers were all pushed towards the heavily armored van with armed guards around it. The press had now all turned out and were taking pictures of their arrests. The part of Steve and the others wanted to fight as they still thought Loki and the Wizard were controlling everyone else. But another part that was bigger was shock and guilt. They were all pushed into the van. Buck, Steve says quietly. Don't, Steve, James says, shaking his head sadly and walking away. The rejected terrorist Avengers were locked in into the van, and they knew they were off to prison and probably the raft. What had they done? Tony sighs as he sits on
the fucking Stars of Arabian Nights fic is what they did.
Tony sighs as he sits on his couch that night. James, Loki, Stephen, and Bruce and the others were with him. He had ice on his body from where he was hurt. He never thought they would be stupid enough to come to the gala, but they had. He couldn't be sorry that they had been arrested. He knew this day would come, as they would never be able to stay hidden for long. But it was still bittersweet, and he felt lighter for the first time in months. Are you okay? James asks, concerned. I will be. You? Tony asks. He was your best friend. The key is where it was. I don't know him anymore. The Stevie I knew would have never have done the things he did. He would never harm the man I love, James says. I'm sorry you had to arrest him, Tony says sincerely. Tony knew he never wanted James to arrest Rogers, but that was just the misfortune of what happened today. Don't be. I love you, doll. We all love you. We would do anything for you, James says, kissing Tony gently.
He's kissing him gently.
And just like that.
Alright, now it's a Wattpad thing.
Really? Tony asks, still unsure. Really, everyone says. Tony knew now this is what a true team felt like. This felt like family. This was the unforeseen consequence of the terrorist Avengers' actions. And somehow, Tony couldn't be sorry for the way things went, as it had led him to his true family, the ones that loved him and respected him the most.
What a cold-hearted son of a bitch.
Author's note, what do you think? Please review, smiley face.
No.
That was an amazing story, right, guys?
Sub-Zero.
Very wholesome.
I'm sorry, I can barely hear you.
My mic is shit.
You sound like fucking Soundwave. Holy shit.
Alright. That's it for tonight. That's
high
it's
quality.
been nearly 3 hours of reading.
Yo. This was a high tier, guys.
Yeah.
Good looking, man.
10 out of 10 would do again.
I mean, personally. I feel pain.
I mean, just think.
sorry.
There's 700 other fics to choose from next time.
My god.
Yep.
And that
We'll
number is
probably look at
probably
the-
going to keep growing.
Yep. And hopefully we will see inheritance cycle ones. Yeah?
That one
Ah.
is reserved for when I give up on life.
Oh.
Yellow. Sorry for that.